Do you think that if aliens showed up,
oh no,
and every single country allied, everything's water under the bridge, literally every country, North Korea's on board, China's on board, US is on board, everyone, do you think the Earth has any shot in any scenario?
Yes, absolutely.
You think so?
Any scenario? Surely.
So if they need,
I just mean like if they got there to us, like we didn't reach out to them. They're
here.
Show up.
They're here and they're mad. It depends what they want and how they want to do it. If they want to just destroy us, then we lose. But if they want our planet unscathed, if their biology is similar enough to us that they can't use their death rays and ruin our planet because they want to live here, if they got to come down here and fight us, then we win, depending on their numbers. If they sent one ship, I've seen this scenario played out, interestingly enough, in one of those war graphics YouTube channels. And they played this thing out, how generations of humans would be fighting the war against the first.
Yeah.
And they set it up so that like the ship took like 25 years to get here. So even though the first war we might win or be winning, we were on that clock for the second wave. But I think if they invade and do it like that, then we could put quite a fight.
Maybe
it's like
it would depend on the physiology.
Song?
No, I don't know that song.
He's like, what would it be like if we met aliens? Do you ever think about that? And he's like, what? You never think about it? Like, would they just come down here and dominate us, or would it be like, damn, Earth go hard?
Maybe they would just say Earth go hard, but it would also depend on. They would in that scenario you talked about. I bet they had a contingency where it's like they are of similar size to us biologically, and they have similar strength. Like if they pop here and they're like. Yeah, like if they're like, let's say they're all a head shorter than us, but they're like dwarves from Lord of the Rings strength and like have thicker, they have talons and fangs instead of like, then we'd be fucked. Like,
isn't it all about weapon systems though? Like,
we have to assume we're losing any weapon system 1-to-1 matchup because they're already
able to kill them though, right? Like if they're too tough to hurt and maim, and
they have to be like humanoid.
What if you shot one and he healed like a goddamn chameleon before your eyes?
Right.
It's gonna be hard to fight that Iraqi style, Afghani style roadside bomb,
what
IED
would be
terrorist fight.
You know, it would be kind of like really make us feel good. What if we're the like giant terrifying species and like aliens show up and they're like, fuck, these things are like 1,000.
They have weapons.
Zigmar feet tall.
I got it. They don't even have a word for weapon. And
we
win that one.
I was thinking on a related note, like what if their weapon system evolved in such a way that they weren't that good at us? Like they just made their idea of a weapon system was a really profound, low-pitched sound. And we're all like, and?
That's interesting.
We're solid.
That's really obnoxious.
Fart people are here. They're gaseous. They're just gas in these little bubbles. Look, the fart people are here. Guys, look out! They're going to try to blow us away again.
Right. Something like that. Like,
they've escaped
the vacuum.
There's no scarcity in their world, so they don't understand the need to lie. So we just manipulate the fuck out of them. For sure. Keep
Three Body Problem does that.
Yeah.
It's real interesting. They're able to read minds, but they can't lie. So now we need to lie to them, even though they can read your mind. And we need to you need to lie in such a way that no one knows you're lying, even you. Mm-hmm. And it gets pretty clever.
Yeah. No, I love those scenarios. It would be, that's been one of my things I've always wished is that we would meet aliens. I want to know what they look like or what they are. Yeah. Even if I bet they'd be horrific looking.
I was going to say that. Taylor's like, wouldn't it be great if we were the big, strong ones? And I was like, well, regardless, we're going to be the ones that conform to our beauty standards.
Yes.
We will definitely think they're ugly, almost for sure.
Oh, there'll be a whole bunch of fetishists who are like, oh, those worm people turn me on. They've been jerking up to tentacle porn their whole lives, and the worm people show up. Oh, they're going to be...
Right.
All of Japan,
just like the fang bangers in True Blood, the chicks who want to bang vampires are called fang bangers, and you can see why they'd choose a fanged man over a non-fanged man. They just have
you can give them immortality. You can't get an erection though. No blood.
It's like infinite stamina, and they fuck so fast it's an actual blur.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that'd be good.
That's how women like to be fucked.
Right?
They love it. You just totally ignore them and you go super speed.
It makes a Taylor. It makes a sound like Sonic the Hedgehog. No, like when he's charging, spinning in place.
Yeah,
that's Mario with the flower.
You hear like as they like when he comes, all the bells come out of the coins
or the star.
Yeah.
Stars.
No, that's how women give sex advice the same way Woody does at haircuts. Faster's better.
Point me at the TV.
Yeah, point me at the TV and cut my hair. Quick on. What the
no, but they are generally they're very good looking, the vampires in True Blood. And they're supposed to be super et sex.
Yeah.
There's very little vampire lore that doesn't have them on one side, either like Nosferatu, very obviously ghoulish and scary, or they're like actively more attractive than everyone around them.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, there are some regular people vampire. Remember, there was like an accountant.
There was that one chubby guy.
Yeah.
Oh, live forever.
Shit. Wait, he became a vampire as a fat guy?
Yeah, and he's all depressed.
He's fat forever now.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
Another one.
He was gay.
There was a hot chick who became a vampire, and she was a virgin. And then she lost her virginity as a vampire, and it healed up like her hymen. And she's like, every time I have sex for the rest of my eternal life, I'm going to break my hymen. Like, this blows.
Yeah.
I mean, like, their like Big Brother system for getting into the vampire world really should fill them in on that stuff. Like, baseline, there's no excuse for like if you were to be vampirized, you would put every ounce of your effort into being the perfect version of yourself at the point of bite. Everyone who's smart would. Can you imagine committing to eternal life with like
I would get as close as
big gut,
close as possible to Kyle's Tinder profile.
Like now you're dehydrated for all eternity.
I'm always so thirsty.
I'm so thirsty.
This is a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's what it's like being a vampire. You don't understand. I turned I was dehydrated.
I don't even want the blood. I was
shredded. Look at
this water.
I'm so thirsty.
You're so vascular. Look at your foot veins. Oh, they hurt though. Your foot veins ever hurt? That's how you know you've gone too far.
Do I have?
My feet have always been like vascular though. I feel like feet always have veins popping out because they're working hard.
I can't see them for the hair.
You can't. You got some. Your feet aren't too hobbity. You have long hair on your toes.
Yeah, I shave them both. I run my like trimmer over my feet and my toes because they're fucking gross. They don't grow like a ton of hair, but it does. There's like some hair there. That's too much. I heard tales that you wanted to discuss aliens or UFOs or the scent hearings or something like that. Is that
I couldn't think of a better group of people to discuss this with publicly online than you guys.
Yes,
you came right to mind, and it just Chiz reached out, and it's just perfect timing. Perfect time. Did you guys watch it at all yesterday? The live.
I did not.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah,
I can find you a link. It's all over.
I saw the guy publicly, like under oath, testify.
Yeah.
That what is it? What did he say exactly? That we have alien
Was it
technology?
non-human remains? Is that what it said?
We'll do a summary for the viewers. I'm sure you guys are informed and are just trying to trip me up a little bit, but I'll summarize real quick here. Which is there's a 2-hour Senate committee hearing with 3 witnesses coming in, and this was I think I have the name somewhere. Give me a second. I'll find them up. This is Ryan Graves, David Grush, I don't know how to say his last name, and David Fravor. And David Fravor is the guy who 2004, his group of pilots were up. He was one of them where they had the, the Tic Tac video that they recorded with this, which is basically something, we don't know what the fuck it is, with actual footage from the instruments on their plane, and it's doing some really crazy shit. And this is all these guys are career military guys, all of them in good standing, some of them still there, some not. And they have come out and, David Fraser had that one incident, nothing before, nothing after with this, talked about it a lot of other eyes on it of something the fuck going on. All right. None of this alone is very interesting. All of this is kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Right. Who knows? Yeah. But you get a couple of these coming out. You get Ryan Graves is in it for slightly different reasons. This apparently is something that happens a lot with the aviation training and flying of jets. If they have this shit in the sky, they're not quite sure what it is. They keep seeing these. There's not a good way to reporting. There's a bunch of stigma for reporting these. No one wants to be the guy being like, I saw some fucking aliens out there in your flight group kind of deal. Anyways, so he's in there kind of going like, well, you have this huge training problem and safety problem with air stuff that can't get reported because people get laughed out of the room kind of deal for reporting this. And there isn't an agency and isn't a system and kind of place for tracking this shit. We should do something about this. And then we got the final one, which is David Gersh, or whatever his name is, who's come out. He's a whistleblower talking about it's like firsthand knowledge of people who have firsthand knowledge of seeing this shit, which gets a bit kind of sketchy for that. And he's only willing to talk some things in open meetings like the one he just had. And the rest of this is classified. So my understanding is basically he's come out to do this, but he's doing this inside of legal bounds. So not like a Snowden situation where he's just spilling all these secrets, but he's trying very hard to protect the confidentiality of the things that are security clears and that he can't talk about, but thinks this needs to be told to the American public. All right. What's the interesting part about this for me is, holy fuck, this is in a Senate committee hearing in public being taken seriously with a bunch of people who aren't saying, hey, there's little aliens, although Grush says he has both seen or have talked to people who have both seen craft and seen bodies, which is fucking wild. Forget that for a minute. I don't even want to.
But he doesn't say he saw it. He says he
no.
talked to people.
Yeah. Well, is willing to give names, they've written things, submitted reports of this kind of shit, but no, can't do any of that public kind of deal, right? But
there's
anyways,
that one video though that they apparently showed Congress or some members of that committee, and they're like, you can see people in the craft moving around.
I haven't seen that one way or the other. And I don't know. For me, just the publicity on there's some weird shit up in our airspace. We don't know what it is. We have a lot of eyewitness reports, a lot of sensor data, a lot of stuff that's been tracked from both ships and planes of this. And we're finally starting to talk about it. We finally want to start talking to the public about it. We have senators who are interested in poking at it going, hey, we have what's supposed to be top security clearance for this. And when we ask questions, we get turned away. What the fuck is going on? And we're going to get to the bottom of this and doing this publicly. Suddenly shit gets really interesting to me. So I thought that was just a super cool. Just watching it was just so, if you can't hear it in my voice, I want to believe kind of deal. But
yeah.
You want to believe?
Yeah, for sure. I want to believe as well. No, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah,
I grew up loving the X-Files and that sort of conspiracy
or it would
at
be
the heart of that show. And I would love it if they would just be, you know what, gigs up. I get on the UFO subreddit, the UFOs subreddit, slightly different. The the conspiracy subreddit, and they're like, Biden has met with their leader. They live at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, and they've been there for 5,000 years. They told Truman that if he used a nuke against them, they would wipe us off the planet and take it for their own. And I'm just like, probably all accurate. Okay.
Probably true. Yeah. The only it's weird to think about an alien race that would get here and then get caught on camera.
Dude, he said some weird fucking shit in there because they asked a little bit about that. Apparently, the second guy, the whistleblower guy, has a degree in physics, which I had no idea until I heard this committee thing, and it was talking a little bit about it. But he said some just bullshit stuff from they just set off all my kind of bullshit detectors of extra dimensions and this type of stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I wish you hadn't said that because I was happily going along with, this sounds believable. This sounds believable.
You were so excited for the first 40% of it. And you're like, no. Oh, damn. Fuck.
Yeah, could you have kept that one for closed doors too?
Can you imagine if he got to the end and he was like, and it turns out that Jesus Christ is their leader. He's come back to us. Actually, I would buy into that. If that would bring us all full circle. We always talk about how we wish that God was real, or
all the other religions would just become Christians.
What if Jesus Christ was an alien, an extraterrestrial, and this last, how long ago? 2,000 years, 2020 something years. He has been flying back home. He has been flying back home, telling his people that he's what we did to him, and they've been on the way back to get retribution for what the Romans did to Christ. I don't think that's
very
accurate. Yeah, that's
no one asked that exact question in the committee, and this is why I thought PKA is where I need to go, because I didn't even think that's a hard hitting kind of the exposure we would get from something like that, Kyle, would just be
the only way we could catch aliens on camera is if they wanted to be caught on camera. Because imagine like to show up at a planet where you get to a planet from 1 billion light years away, like that's like me walking a mile to get to an anthill. Like when I get to that anthill, like they're nothing to me. They're barely sentient to me. I can do whatever I want.
See you. You couldn't.
No, I mean they would have some cool cloaking, some kind of technology, or like they'd be able to look at us from further away than our furthest telescope can look, and they'd
totally
be looking into your living
room. This metaphor falls apart.
Yeah, this isn't working, Taylor. Like you can't even hide from ants. Like you could drive to an anthill. You could fly to an anthill on the other side of the planet, but when you got there, they'd still be able to see you. You can't turn invisible because you're just way more advanced, not magical.
Okay, that was more a power difference.
Boom!
If you're looking at just damn, God, fuck, you got me. No, they would have some, dude. The Russians and the Americans have cloaking technology. The aliens would have.
We don't have cloaking technology.
Dude, there was some weird thing in there too. We have B-2 bombers that like you can't pick up on our ability to, or they probably can now. But for a long time, those were $1 billion a piece.
But they're not invisible to cameras.
Yeah, that's stealth. That's not like here's my arm and here's.
Do you guys think maybe that the interdimensional race of people might be more advanced than that, and they might be able to just become invisible? The idea that they're gonna show up and we're gonna catch them unless they want to be caught. So if we're seeing them, they want to be seen.
Well, that Tic Tac video, what they said for that's David Fravor stuff again was that their active radar got jammed by it. So that what they were only picking it up was on passives because their active was getting actively jammed, which was fucking interesting to me hearing that. Which is talking about stealth. That's kind of what that is. Right?
You know what? It might not even. It depends what kind of alien race, right? If it's like the super intelligent kind, they'd have technology and whatnot. But what if it's more of like the fungus kind of alien, where like they're just vicious and like the alien kind of alien, and they're more just here for destruction and doom and
my favorite sci-fi and an alien encounter scenario is that like an alien slave ship shows up, like an alien nation, or in that what's the movie in South Africa that's the apartheid allegory. Like something like that, where they have District 9, where they have no idea how to operate their own technology. They're just like the bred, genetically engineered slave race that works inside the big ship. So and the master race has been all destroyed. So they get here with tech that they don't even understand, and now we just got a fucking immigration problem.
That's your favorite kind of space? It's a financial issue when they show up.
Yeah. Because
they're bringing technology and goods, and they're like, "Oh, I'm thirsty." Like that's how they get out.
But they don't drink water. Because in an alien nation, salt water was like battery.
No, they drink fucking Ciroc, and they demand it by the gallon. We have to get tons of it for them.
Have none of you guys gone down this rabbit hole before? The UFO rabbit hole?
Oh, me for sure.
I would assume.
Not enough. Yeah,
I always go back to like, it seems like if they had all the technology and ability to get here, then they wouldn't come here. They'd go somewhere else. Maybe it seems maybe they could do that. What I think is, and if there's something going on, if there's actual craft and fucking bodies for reals, then I think it's a race of beings that have been here with us this whole time in the ocean. I keep going back to that because it's what I think would actually make a little sense. Because the idea of getting here across
so much harder, right? Because it's like, if these are drones or something, and these are just like Van Neumann stuff that's out replicating and it's here doing automated shit, maybe you're like, like that sounds like a much more plausible kind of thing. But like when you hear like bodies and craft that are being piloted, you're like, what the fuck? Like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Travis, are you an alien believer at all, or are you just kind of happen?
Of course, when you're driving home from clubs for 26 years at 3 a.m, you see some weird ass shit that you cannot explain, and it has nothing to do with drunks are weird. I mean, and we drove down some lonely ass roads in the middle of the night, and then of course, and my wife grew up in a smaller town where when it's dark out, it is freaking dark out. I live in Indianapolis, and we still have the glow from the city. But yeah, I mean, there is to say that we're the only folks cruising around here on this rock or whatever would be kind of tough, because there is some unexplainable shit that, of course, now they, of course, like I said, in front of a damn Senate hearing right now, like who says, okay, all right, I'm going to bring this in front of the Senate. Last time we were in front of a Senate hearing, you had the guy from Roswell with a weather balloon, and then you're like, oh no, that's just a weather balloon. And you're like, and his kids are like, no, this shit was not a weather balloon. So yes, I mean, but my thing is, if you go through all these different administrations that, I grew up with Reaganomics and Carter and all this other stuff, but then you go through the Clinton years, and then of all people not to dump this shit, you don't think loudmouth ass fucking Donald Trump would have been like, folks, here's the fucking aliens, and it's fucking huge, like his dumb ass and being, and then Biden's smart enough to be like, because he's not saying he's a smart ass, he's an old crazy old timer, but he's smart enough to know to keep his fucking mouth shut. But we just had fucking Trump in there, and his dumb ass had been like, check out this guy, his name is Orko, and like, he would like march him out there. So
all right, to draw a reference to Harry Potter, maybe it's like that, where the prime minister doesn't know that there's magic and such going on unless there's a problem. And it's like, sir, we didn't tell you about the alien race that lives at the bottom of the ocean because we only tell presidents on a need-to-know basis. But they just blew up Hawaii, so you really need to know this. So this is Xenu. And it turns out Scientology is at the heart of it all. And we've got to get Tom Cruise to go up there. And for
we
real,
need the guy that's going
to.
He can't stop winning. Tom Cruise can't stop.
I mean, we need Jason Statham to kick him all in the face. I'm
going to say this: if aliens came and we had to pick a movie star to go save us, I would pick Tom Cruise. I would pick.
But I mean, Woody grew up in the same kind of generation that I did, and it's we've had all these different administrations where crazy Democrats and crazy Republicans, all these. Don't you think that one of them by now would have, old ass Ronald Reagan would be like, well, I'll tell you whatever else, but Orko here thinks that we're going to rule the world. So how do you keep everybody? How do you keep everybody's anyone? How do you keep everybody's mouth shut?
There's an absolutely astronomical amount of shit on the side of this is bullshit. There's no way we can believe this, right? And I agree with that. Every one of those points I agree with, right? Someone would have said something. It's impossible to imagine this type of thing can be kept secret for this long, for this many people. It's impossible to imagine that there's this shadow government working behind it, kind of shit. Any of this stuff, the idea of
to add to that, the only people seeing it have like top secret clearance, or they're people who can really get to keep a secret, like military aviators. It's never some asshole with a cell phone and a paramotor who will run his mouth the second he sees it. It's not that guy.
All of this is, I agree with all of this, and then this is, this is why it's so fantastical that any of this could even remotely be where it is now. But then you hear the other side that's equally interesting to me, and I don't think equal weight because the weights are so crazy with this. But you hear the things of repeated pilots of all branches out there flying, everyone flying, reporting this shit, talking about this shit. I was watching an interview with it was I can't remember which news program it was, but it was another one of the individuals in Fravors group who flew not with exactly with that mission, but another one of those. And she was just like so nonchalant about it. Oh yeah, we used to see these things all the time. Like, it doesn't surprise me. And no one ever followed up on this stuff. We'd debrief and no one would come back. Or it wasn't until years later where I was called in to talk about that and really got into the technical details of this. When you hear this repeated stuff of something's up there, we keep seeing them, we keep catching them on instruments. We've tracked them a variety of different ways now. We see these unbelievable movements. It's something. And I liked the approach of the committee hearing with this was, we don't have to point to aliens necessarily. We don't have to point to whatever. We can say, well, it doesn't matter necessarily what it is, but the capabilities and seeing this and not having a good system for reporting and tracking this and not understanding what they're doing. This can be a foreign opponent. This can be, this can be China perhaps, or the witnesses didn't seem to think it was possible to be human, but we don't have to start there, right? And if it leads to non-human, great. We've laid the groundwork for this being fact and not just a hunt for the fucking Bigfoot again kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's like,
sure, it's my Neanderthal ancestors.
But Bigfoot's fun too.
Yeah, but man, what the fuck is going on?
But there's still, and going back to your point, there's still a missing Malaysian airliner out there that's everybody's mysteriously, forgotten about or whatever in the last, where's that motherfucker at? Because that's a whole lot of shit still out there. That's, the ocean's big. Well, shit comes to the surface. Like, where's that damn, so if you go down that thing, you're like, okay, are they good? Are they evil? We've already kind of went good and evil already on this today, but we're like going, all right, so where do you stand with like, okay, we can't not explain the shit that's on that video. I can't. You can't. I'm a stupid disc jockey from Indianapolis. Don't go put a mic in my face and go, Travis, what's on that video?
Yeah.
Fuck if I know. I don't know what's on that video. But I agree that there's some driving home at night. There's some weird shit that you can't explain. Where the hell's the airlane, or where the hell's this? Why hasn't somebody other than top secret people that are like saying, hey, if you say shit, you die?
No, go ahead.
I wanted to talk about that alien shit, that like paper mache alien they're like talking about out of Mexico. That shit looks ridiculous. I would have faked an alien 10 times better. 10 times better than that. You think the whole body's going to be there? You think it's going to look like literal paper mache? It still has little fingers. The whole skeleton's there.
So
it's
what
absurd.
they were saying, the idea that they had a mummified body, if we're getting past the idea that aliens are real, wasn't the weird thing to me. And it was like, okay, maybe if they had one for a long time, they said it was like 1,000 years old, like maybe some ancient people mummified a fucking alien, and here it is. But then they turned the camera a little, and you saw that its face was just so weirdly shaped. It looked like it had been 3D printed, and it's not rounded off yet. It's like a 2-dimensional like JPEG or something. And it
pull
did not
a picture of that
good.
up, Zach, if you
and
can.
And then they showed the X-ray, and the X-ray is an X-ray that got debunked like years and years ago. It's the same X-ray of
they mirrored the image, Kyle. Totally
They
different.
mirrored the image, which is a dead giveaway that you're pulling my fucking yank. Look, I want to believe in aliens.
Flew one
come down
Mexico.
Do you know who Brian Cox is? Are you familiar with that name?
Oh yeah,
I bet you remember him.
Physicist.
The actor?
No, he's a physicist.
Oh.
He's been on the
is he
Jerry,
the
which
British
is a
guy
popular
with curly
podcast.
hair? The British guy with curly black hair.
Yes,
maybe it's not super straight, the black hair, but in any case,
he's a cool guy. He's good at explaining stuff.
He's really good at explaining stuff, and he just has this cadence and temperament that clicks with me. And they asked him what he thought of the aliens, and he said the odds that this alien would be humanoid are so infinitesimal. You know, that people are making these props in our own image. But if we were to really discover extraterrestrial life, it wouldn't look just like us.
It would be a cephalopod or some shit, you know? Like that's, I don't know if you've ever seen, I think it might be Arrival. I bet it's not. It's Contact or something. I'm spacing on the name of the movie. It came out a few years ago, and the cephalopod aliens came down in their weird, like half moon shaped ship, and they try to communicate with them. You know, that's the whole premise of the movie, is the communication going back and forth with them, trying to find some common ground. They're not going to look like us. They're probably not going to be walking around.
There is no fucking way that's an alien.
Yeah.
They might be in a big tank of water or some shit, or they might be like always in like some goo, like a big fucking a snail person. Who fucking knows?
Yeah. What if they're like sea, kind of like a mermaid or something like that? What if they don't even live terrestrially? They've got cities underground. Like, we don't know. But to think that they've got like fingers and a little nose with 2 nostrils.
See,
like,
no, I disagree with that. I don't think that, maybe I'm being closed-minded here, but I think you need hands and fingers if you're going to evolve to anything. Look, okay, a tentacle could work, maybe, but I think you need more dexterous tentacles than like our cephalopods have. You need some sort of, there are 72 bones, I think, roughly in our hands. This thing is really good at what it does do. Like, watch some professional musician play. Like we're so good at this, and this is what lets us do so much of what we do.
The alien in Independence Day, the one Will Smith punched in the head, it had a very different. It was almost like every finger was an arm, and they all seem to have the same dexterity that we do. And I'm like, that looks even better.
Perhaps, but I don't know. It seems weird to me that you'd still be like semi-aquatic and working with electrical stuff. Like maybe they're powered by something else, but
I didn't think of that.
Again, probably just being real close-minded. And it's like, well, their blood's fucking copper-based, not iron-based, dummy. They're silicon life forms. There's so many different things they could be. They could be non-corporeal life forms, right? Something that's not even in a physical body. They're just a floating aura of energy that's sentient, that can communicate somehow.
Oh, we're in big trouble if that's the case.
Are we? Because I got a microwave that's probably basically hell to them.
It's just going to phase right through the fucking...
That's what
I have
a Faraday cage. It's meant...
I will fuck them up with a... They're not.
It's like signs where they're like, we didn't account for the wind. Like,
Right?
they just blow away instead of
signs.
that's more
I love
understandable than not
signs.
assigning for water. We've got you, Chris. We got you back. Well,
Oh
did you
yeah,
have-
I had some kind of audio thing going on there, but it's sorted now. But yeah, I mean, the alien question is just fascinating because like you said, I mean, I didn't catch all that conversation, but I mean, just mathematically speaking, there's so many planets and worlds out there on the order of trillions that it seems mathematically impossible that we're the only ones there. But per your point with the humanoid type thing, yes, evolutionarily speaking, yeah, there could be other versions. Just look at our own animals in our own animal kingdom.
Mhm.
But, certainly manipulating technology, things with, traveling, that kind of stuff, a liquid-based culture would not necessarily travel that well, for example, or tentacles don't really manipulate triggers and hand tools and wheels and all the things. These creatures would have presumably evolved the same way that we did, with hand tools and clubs and stone wheels and things like that. So
My thought
evolutionarily
process
speaking,
is, I'm trying to think about this and not miss something, but it seems to me that you need to be able to forge metal at some point with heat. And if you live underwater, that's just never going to happen. Like, you're never going to take iron ore that you get out of the bottom and melt it, because it's just a foreign fucking concept. Anything hot enough to boil water,
Oh yeah. Or
makes
in,
sense.
like you mentioned, silicone based life forms. I mean, water itself could be extremely poisonous to a lot of different organisms. I mean,
Love
when you
that.
look at hydrogen is very reactive, oxygen is very reactive. It is a universal solvent in a way. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where presumably some sort of life form would be very harmed by water, for example, or and then when you get into like sizes and stuff like that, I mean, obviously we have, whales and elephants and really big animals, but in general, if we've got some sort of a, respiratory based body, breathing, that sort of thing, you're going to have to be a certain size to where either your weight is not a hindrance with the gravity that you have or able to breathe. You've got to have enough lung space to oxygenate or carbonate or whatever the chemical your body needs. So, I mean, there are going to be probably some similarities. You get into that Star Trek, Star Wars model of a bunch of extras wearing suits. They're all about 5'11" with arms, but at the same time, it's a pretty good model. And just based on the toolkit of elements that we have to work with, certain life forms are going to require the same sort of sizes in order to work. You can't be too big. You can't breathe or stand up under your own weight unless your bones are made out of carbon fiber or something like that. And if you don't have the right appendages,
but for sure, like 100% for sure, those paper mache things they wheeled out in Mexico are fake.
That's
because those
I don't.
things
Yeah,
look silly.
I know that's not.
There's candy in that fucking alien. I guarantee it.
It took all the press, but at the same time, they discovered that a planet probably has life on it, like real recently. I think it's Kepler 22b. I might be fucking that up.
Yeah, it kind of
this thing is
rotates or something.
So there's a couple things about it here. It's 15% larger than Earth, so it's right in that, like, if size is important, the gravity is going to be comparable to Earth. All right, boom. Its normal temperature is 6 degrees Celsius. What's that, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that? That's probably. 40 degrees Fahrenheit is the thing that can sustain life. They say it has water on it, and then there are gases that they've discovered that are like the byproduct of life. I forget if it's methane or something else, but they think, there's carbon dioxide, which is a breathing type thing, and they think shit's exhaling on this planet. So maybe
how far away is this one?
Super far. Here, I'll look.
Was it 142 light years? Yeah, in case anyone's wondering how you can look at something and tell what it's made out of, it's what color light is coming back. It's they're able to tell what elements are present with that.
That's in line with what I
radio
saw.
telescopes.
Yeah, and like traveling some of these distances, and I can't remember who I was watching. It was Brian Cox or Neil deGrasse Tyson or Michio Kaku or some other interesting physicist or astrophysicist. But like they were talking, or maybe it was Veritaserum or Vsauce or something. But anyway, they were talking about traveling to these different star systems. And it's not just as simple as like putting a big ass motor on the back of a ship. Like to accelerate a human body up to the speed of light and then slow it back down at a rate where the G-forces did not just turn us into jello would take most of a normal human lifetime just to get up to that speed. Like in order to travel to these kind of distances, it would have to be some sort of wormhole or space-time or some type of warp drive or some sort of like cryo freeze where we wake up 2,000 years later, like just the physics alone of accelerating our body.
That's what we
would have
need,
to find
man.
some solution. Yeah, exactly. But
I
we
want
have
that
to come up with
cryo
some
freeze
solution
shit.
to overcome like mass, essentially, because the mass of our own body would be its hindrance as we accelerated and decelerated. So it's fascinating just to look at the numbers and watch this kind of stuff. And
Can you imagine getting there and it's shit? Getting there and like an asteroid hit it the week before you arrived, and it's just on fire. The whole
also
planet.
like they don't like the light has taken so long to get here. Couldn't you like get on the way there and then the light finally arrives showing that it was destroyed, and it's like no,
it could not be
so 1,000 years ago it blew up and we started our whole project, and now we're way too far in the midst of it. Like, I just woke up out of cryo sleep and it's not there.
That's fascinating to me. So this particular planet, I looked it up, is 587 light years away. So
never mind.
I mean, kind of far, but not like it's the stuff where that's 22 million light years away. It's interesting.
That's another galaxy.
You're looking into the past, right? That light, there could be stars out there where we're waiting for the first light to hit us. Mm-hmm. There could be stars out there shining at us that actually have been dead for 15 million years. And they'll keep shining at us for 7 more million years.
Most of the stars we see at night aren't still there. Like that, I had a girl one time try to sell me on the whole astrology thing. And and not that I'm not willing to believe in, magic or some force that means that I'm born in September, so therefore I don't get along with people born in January or do good in business. But like, it's like, just tell me it's magic. I'll believe that rather than you telling me that some ball of light out in the space that's not even there anymore based on the positions it was relative to the moon the day I was born is somehow going to determine whether I'm an asshole or not. Like, I'd rather believe the magic of it than you tell me.
Why would our relative position to those stars have any basis on what on them telling you anything? Are you telling me that astrology is completely different if you live on a different fucking planet? They got a whole different astrology system there because their stars
have to. They'd see different stars.
God,
Kyle, this is in wild conflict with your circumcision views.
Snip it, boys. All right.
See, here's the thing. If Christopher, say that Kyle says circumcision is the right move because if there are any girls who are turned off, then you should have it because it opens doors for you. In my mind, Kyle should get into horoscopes because these chicks are into it, and if it gets your wet. If it gets your stick wet, you should line up with these views. Drop your principles, Kyle. That's what I'm telling you.
That's just there's more pussy in going into horoscopery or whatever that shit is called.
Horoscopery.
Whatever I'm into now. I just really find that to be so like come on, you look stupid if you're into astrology. Like if you think that,
dude, many girls love that shit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be into fantasy. Like I love all sorts of fantasy worlds.
But you guys should become horoscope fucking whores.
I'll do that. I'll be like, oh, I was unbelievably rude because I'm a Taurus. I forgot to text you back because I'm a Taurus.
What is your
I can't pay for dinner. I'm a Taurus. That means I'm bullheaded. I don't know.
Yeah, I always just tell them that Virgos don't believe in astrology.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think I had a slam for Mexico. Oh yeah, your fake aliens are so fake. You're like the Mexican version of fake aliens.
What was that about? Anyway,
it's so embarrassing.
I saw that video. What was that?
They're still claiming that's real and presenting new evidences. They fucking X-rated them or like they ran into a fucking scanner.
The two little plaster little guys.
What, like a metal detector at the airport?
Yes, it looks like Mini Me's skeleton, and they're like running it through an MRI, a Mexican MRI. Jesus Christ! And then claiming that they're real and that they've got
Mexican resonance imaging.
I like to think they don't have like 40-year-old technology. Imagine a Mexican X-ray. Do they have those?
Mexican resonance imaging. Let me take a good look.
That's an alien.
That's what they pulled out of Wings when he got his surgery down there.
That's what it was. That's his calcified twin.
Yeah.
That was Donnie. Good one.
Donnie.
Those aliens
did you have
so
people
fucking stupid and fake? Your skeleton behind you right now legitimately, it looks far more realistic as like a fake body
than that alien they brought forward. Yeah.
Did you have people in your community, Wendigoon, being like, "Do a deep dive on the alien"?
When that you remember that Senate hearing that happened, like I want to say it was last month sometime, and that you guys may have talked about on the show, but when that dude was up there, like there's non-human remains recovered in the ship or whatever, that guy, that whole thing. My mentions for like a week straight were nothing but, why aren't you covering this? What's your problem? Do you know something we don't? Why aren't you talking about it? And it was literally just a guy, like a dude who worked on a military base. He's like, a friend of a friend of a friend mentioned that might be aliens, you know? You ever think of it that way? And everyone's like, oh, the government's confirming they're aliens. It's like, I don't know if you've ever talked to someone who works in government, but they're not God. Like, there's a pretty high area of a error chance with things that they say. So it was just some guy. But yeah, the Mexican one, I still am having trouble believing, because I've seen those videos. I'm like, I'm getting punked. There's something wrong here, because it's literally like plaster ETs, like this big. I don't know.
It looks like so fake and so fake looking. If they had just shown me like a big weird octopus thing that didn't even make any sense, and they'd been like, look at this, it had a glove on, or like, look at this, it has when in the X-ray you could see like it had implants or something around its brain. Be like, oh shit, what is that? What is that thing? And this is a fossil. What? But they showed me those little Halloween store guys that looked so fake that I know that a high school class could duplicate it or improve upon it.
That wouldn't even
any special effects group could make something so much better looking. I saw this fake Russian video of an alien once, and it was supposedly like dead in the snow, like fresh, and like the leg was gone. So you saw like inside of it, like flesh. And I was like, that could be real. I mean, I know it's not real, but like, that's what a real one would look like, maybe. You know, I don't know what the inside of an alien looks like, but I'm buying that that's what it is, because I can see like muscles and bone and sinew. They used an animal in the making of whatever they did. Like,
that looks more realistic than the one they had at the Mexican government.
My alien's better than theirs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Woody set that hillside behind me there on fire one time.
I did.
How'd you set it on fire?
I was shooting I was trying to shoot a paint can with a shotgun that had dragon's breath in it, so that the paint can would catch fire. And the dragon's breath was landing in the field back there. And I knew that I was making little fires, but I thought they'd be easily stomped out.
Yeah.
I may have overestimated the difference between the fires and my cardio, because it was a challenge. And it was hot. And I'm running from fire to fire.
Great.
The fires are growing, right? Once a fire gets to a certain size, it becomes a real problem. And
that's a great
is that from Glenn Beck's wave? Glenn Beck ran a fucking article about me on how I was an irresponsible gun owner.
That piece of shit, Glenn Beck.
So anyway, I think Kyle eventually came up with that cooler that had water in it, because what was happening when fire gets to a certain size, it gets really hard to put out.
Yeah.
So, that wasn't me. So I would stomp it down to like 80% gone, like down to 20% of its previous size, and then move on to the next one. Why did I take it to 0? Well, the next one was getting too big to handle. So I was just sort of playing whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole. They all sort of grew back up. And once we got water involved, they stayed put out.
After that, I started bringing... my dad has a PTO powered sprayer for his tractor. It's a big tank. It's hundreds of gallons, maybe 300, maybe 500. And you've got a wand, and it makes a ton of pressure and shoots forever. So we just use that thing as a fire truck after that. No matter how big of a fire you made, you could put it out with that thing. There's no problem.
Dennis.
What about the events that Fire in the Sky are based on? That logger from Oregon or wherever who was disappeared for multiple days, 3 to 5 or something. All of his buddies saw the light. They were all out there working, logging. He got separated, went to investigate the light, goes missing days later, naked, and passed the polygraph for whatever that means, you know.
Yeah.
But still passed it. And says he was abducted by aliens and they did gruesome experiments on him.
So that's another one of those cases that's kind of like, yeah, I mean, whatever you think. Like it's such bizarre circumstances. I can't pin it down. I haven't researched that one the way I would like a video topic because I haven't made it. But from what little I do know about that case, my idea around it was always either an intense psychosis, like from him, like maybe he decided to fake the lights in order to trick his friends and then like make up this whole story or whatever, either out of some level of wants to be famous, I guess, or psychosis, like I said. But even then, that's exactly. Come on.
When you
like,
say
that's
fake,
pushing it.
when you say fake the lights, what is? Can you backfill me?
Like I got a little experience in pyrotechnics and such. I'd have a hard time fooling y'all that the aliens were over the hill.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this story, there were alien lights, or supposed alien lights that people claim to have seen.
Oh yeah, Kyle knows. Like again, I haven't researched it well. Kyle probably knows
there
the
was
details better
a
than I do.
bright light over the hill, like a blinding light that they didn't want to investigate because all the other grown men were afraid. And this guy's like, ho, 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 and runs off and doesn't show up for days. And when he comes back, he's like naked in a phone booth somewhere calling 911. But yeah,
the aliens are incredibly sexually aggressive.
They were. If you watch that scene, it's so upsetting because they're very matter-of-factly, like it's like when you see the crocodile hunter with an animal, like, oh, look at this, fucking measure, staple this through its fucking ear. Yeah, they don't feel pain like we do. Fucking roll him over. Let's shove a finger or two up his ass. See what? Yeah, it's the cloaca. Yeah, she's almost ready. yeah. Did you wash your hands? Fuck it. Roll her over.
You're like being peeled alive on an alien table, screaming, and they're like, "That's just air releasing from its lung." You just feel a sense of pressure, like a fish. You're just stop it, and it's like, wow.
See how it's all high pitched like that? Yeah, that's air escaping. They breathe it. Yeah, I know.
And then the big inhale, that's air escaping back in. For another escape.
It escapes the other way. Now that scene in the movie is one of the scariest movie scenes ever. Like it's terrifying.
It's one thing for someone to have you and want to inflict pain on you because they understand it, but to be kidnapped by something that doesn't even have the concept of pain, that's just there and treating you like another, like, I don't know, like a chunk of aluminum to be ored out, or like an animal to be weighed and measured and cataloged. It's real scary. And the actor. And so the aliens don't look like super realistic or anything, but they're scary. They're scary to look at. Like they have those, it's the traditional gray aliens with the big heads and everything, but something about them is more predatory and mean, for lack of a better word. It's like they're aggressively, like at one point he's like, ah! And one of them's like, oh yeah, give me a handful of this brown muck to shove into its mouth. And he's just like,
okay, well, that's awful. Not even science. Can you imagine if you have
science, we can't understand.
If you had like a lemur on a table that you're torturing, and you're like, we need to get the information from this lemur's biology and its metrics, and it's just like, and you're just like, no, that's obnoxious. Put this Quickcrete in its mouth. Shut it up. Like, no, now it's not even science anymore. That's just that's just Saw 6. Like when they really lost the plot.
That's just mean. That's all that is.
I like the idea that to the lemur, a syringe, they're just like, he's just poking us with a sharp stick over and over. Like they don't see any scientific benefit to you stabbing them over and over. So when the thing like puts a handful of axle grease in his mouth, which is what it looks like. It's like they have no idea that this is this is magical axle grease. It tells us everything you need to know about a human.
10 out of 10 lemurs hate having their eyelids cut off and mascara smeared into it.
We had to know if it was going to stink.
So we talked about the Mexican alien a few weeks ago when that got big, and immediately me, Woody, and Kyle were like, this is horse ridiculous, like clearly not real. Did you come down differently? Did you think for a bit that it might be legit?
Oh, I immediately thought it was bullshit. That's the first thing that I thought. However, once I saw the further scans and stuff, and with allegedly, them offering these new findings of these supposedly different ones that don't have the backwards fingers that I see going around, I look forward to seeing other people investigate it. I don't think it's a waste of time. I'll say that much. As much as people, I got really attacked on Twitter for that because everybody thought I was saying I thought they were real. I don't think they're real. I think there's a lot of suspicious shit surrounding it. And I definitely think that they need to release them to some actual people that I trust, like let, Harvard or something see it. And they're apparently taking steps towards that. All that I wanted to say on Twitter was that people saying these look fucked up. I was saying that what they're saying is thing that is theoretically, allegedly not from Earth doesn't look like it's from Earth, therefore it's fake.
But it did look like it was from Earth.
I thought it looked too much like it was from Earth. It had little
like
nostrils.
Oh my god, that thing looks. All right, if you were buying those at Home Depot as Halloween decorations, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this shit? I'm not paying $15 for this. It doesn't even look like anything. They are so garbage. They look so fake. They're clearly some sort of cast fucking stone or something or paper mache. They're bullshit. And like they should. Those were scans from before, and with the eggs on the inside and that stupid thing in the chest. Look at that. Why is its head shaped like that? Like that's
a huge
so
brain,
silly.
man. That's what I'm saying. It just don't look like it's from
That's
me.
what
If they
ET's head.
showed
Can
me
you
a
show us
fucking-
ET's head?
It's a lot.
It looks
like
exactly
that.
like ET.
If
Almost.
they showed
not
me a
quite.
squid, like a big squid thing with like a fucking leather, wearing a leather suit, and it had an iPad in its tentacle or something that looked like it was made to be held with a
Look at
tentacle,
that.
I could believe that.
That's
Telescopic
better.
Guy
neck,
right here.
too.
This is
Come the
better
fuck
than
on.
that. Like that.
And I'll tell you
is
this:
more
everybody
believable.
says that thing is like friendly looking, and they loved it. That thing scared me as a kid. If I saw that in real life now, I'd beat it to death. I'd beat it. They'd be like, "War has begun with the fucking Neptunians," because
Blow up the Earth.
Kyle
Yeah.
killed one with his bare hands because it came at him in his backyard.
Dude, if I were in charge of the fake alien psyop, and they like brought that little like paper mache nonsense to me, I would be like, guys, I am not going to let you humiliate me here. With this, back to the drawing board. You have it have 4 fingers like a Simpsons character and little nostrils and like a chin and eye. Like, no. We need to, get back to the drawing board here.
That's better.
No way we're
That's
doing
better.
It's not a lot better. It's clearly a person.
I mean,
with
that's-
a helmet on.
That's somehow
Exactly.
worse.
It's clearly a thing that's alive. That other thing was fake. This is a person, at least. I'm open to the idea there being some like aliens or maybe some sort of alien technology. Like maybe they sent one of those von Neumann probes or whatever, the ones that replicate over and over. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
and maybe they sent a little probe here and it's just zipping around. I could believe that maybe. I don't know. There's hair on that one. What the fuck are we?
Well, that's
looking
just a
It's a
person.
mummy, isn't it? Mhm.
That's just-
or not a
that's
mummy,
just-
but
That's just a person with
partially preserved.
They like
Sitting
dropped-
with their knees by their head.
dropped
right?
Frank
Like in a
Reynolds'
at?
wig.
Yeah, they're like all
Mhm.
bundled
Yeah,
up.
they're-
Like maybe they used to. Interesting, the hair though, huh?
It is
if I
interesting.
ever,
I know
rot,
that
right?
hair doesn't rot that easily,
Mhm.
but that's really intact.
Yeah, I don't believe that's real either. I mean, those knees look. I've never seen a body that had kneecaps.
oh, like they haven't fallen off yet. You mean
Mhm.
like
I never
what's
thought of
going to
that.
hold those?
It looks
in?
so silly. I don't know what we're looking at, but that doesn't look like a real thing to me either.
No, that looks fake. Also, if
Like-
if you
like, how
guys
did they
like
get the-
ever, go ahead.
There's like fragile, supposedly ancient pottery below that. How did they get the dirt out of that without shattering what's clearly broken, fragile pottery? It looks like
Very
somebody set up
slowly. maybe. I
No,
don't know.
that looks fake. Fake.
That's what they do with archaeological digs. They go real slowly with a brush and stuff,
What- If they had a piece of an alien, if they had an alien body that looked real, like I could get on board. But everything I've ever seen looks so silly, just so silly, and not even close. The stuff that's compelling is that footage from like what is it, the Teddy
Bigfoot?
Roosevelt or whatever, that naval vessel that's got the thermal camera right on the fucking weird top shaped flying object, and you've got them like talking like it's moving X amount of knots, blah blah blah. Indeterminate.
Oh, yeah, like the
blah, blah,
UAP
blah.
videos.
Like yeah, they're talking about it, and they're naval officers who are clearly confused about what they're looking at. That's compelling. I don't know what the fuck they're looking at either.
Oh, like
that-
that guy who was flying around up in the air and like stuff kept popping up on his radar and it was moving in ways that they didn't know how to understand.
That might be
Similar
part
to
of it,
that.
but I'm talking about the video of the.
It was a Navy video that he's talking about. I
I'll
think.
just call it the spaceship. The video of the fucking spaceship for the long one where they're tracking it for minutes and minutes, and then instead of being like this, it completely changes its orientation and turns like sideways, like
Mhm.
like longer,
I
top
wonder-
to bottom.
Like, did they see it with the naked eye too, or did they see it through the camera and the infrared?
As fast as it was moving, I doubt that they saw it with their naked eye.
I only ask because half of these things get explained by like, oh, it's the way that you're viewing it. Like if you put a speck on my glasses, I'd be like, holy shit, this thing moves in a way that defies fucking physics,
Yeah.
But it's a speck on my glasses. And that happens with lenses. That happens. Lens flare, for example, is like those rainbows you kind of see around lights. But sometimes there are artifacts that like make little bright triangles,
Counterpoint. I doubt they were looking at it with a telescope. I bet they were looking at it with the most expensive piece of optics that money can buy.
Yeah, in this case, it was radar equipment.
You say it was old?
Like a couple years ago. Like there's an interview with the guy that from on the boat, like a naval officer on YouTube. I was watching it earlier. He was like, I was on the Teddy Roosevelt during the Dresden event or whatever. And but so it's recent, and it's again, that to me speaks a little bit to the whatever the fuck is going on of it. Is that if this wasn't some like kid's iPhone that tracks something funny.
Right, it's like, military equipment.
It's the best equipment there is for looking at things flying in the air. It's like, it's like, what does that piece of equipment do normally? It finds things that fly really fast in the air that don't want to be seen. So it's made for this. Yes. And it's having a hard time. You can't figure out what it is. We have no idea what that is.
And if we're talking about,
I hear you.
That tells you what things are. It's like,
I think my skepticism just has me latching on to any other explanation and believing it over the alien thing.
I think the most likely scenario is that there's a branch of some branch of the military or someone in our military is using some cool shit and not telling the guys that when it's way below their pay grade. Why would that guy on that boat need to know that they're flying their magical flying donut shaped unmanned vehicle tonight? Maybe
I imagine they'd shut that down though. Like
if you wanted to like test your cool new toy, what's the use in flying it to Russia where they shoot their own shit down and like shoot their own men because they're so incompetent? You'd want to fly it around one of our boats, like who's got the good shit, right? And then that way, if they accidentally shoot you down, it's like, oh, let's go to cover. We're in safe waters and everything. It just seems like if you're testing your new scary shit, you'd test it on your own people.
No, I think you'd want to fly it around Russia and China, and then just like every few weeks you zoot around there a little bit, and then you go back. And then you like hard scope their media and like our spies tell us, and then they're like, really? Nobody saw anything? Russia didn't see anything. Oh, China saw something. Okay, well now we know they got fucking something over there.
Yeah, I just don't believe in little green men. Mostly because I'm so afraid of them. I can't believe I can't live in a world where they exist. I remember in Independence Day, there's that newscast you kind of hear in the background. They're warning people not to fire their handguns at the craft. I'd be that guy. I'd be out there. Look, we gotta go.
Hit the craft. Take off, popping off at it like it's gonna help.
I'm sorry. I saw
this
fire
one
in the sky.
Sucks.
This one looks awful.
Like, is this carved out of wood?
That's what I was about to say. It's like ivory or something, isn't it?
Isn't that one weirder? I'm sorry. Isn't that one real?
This?
What do you mean real? Is it a
real? Is in? I don't know that it's extraterrestrial, but they did a DNA test on it and they found it to be 92% like humans. Yeah, at first, 8% of the DNA did not match with human DNA. An improved analysis says it matched at 98%. So it's basically a human, or what else matches 98% with humans?
Fetus?
Monkeys, mutations.
That'd be 100%, right? I don't know.
It's definitely human. I mean, people have sent in like lizard spit to 23andMe and they're like, you're French. Like people have literally done that. So like, yeah, if this is definitely like a human with.
That's what I was getting. It's human, or I don't know enough about genetics. If you were to say that monkeys match 98%, I'd be like, well,
what
Taylor
is this
knows.
supposed to be? Is there an article to correspond with this? Like
there is. He linked it. It's on CNN. Just above it.
Summarize it for me, Kyle.
Oh yes, instantly.
The entire
I will.
article. Yeah.
They're
Look at his
comparing
little Glasgow smile on the right one.
It's 6 inches tall. I think it's a 6.
Is it?
Yeah, look at the fabric. You can see the fabric.
It's a conundrum made by perplexing features. It's only 6 inches tall, but initial estimates of the age of the bones were consistent with a 6 to 8 year old child. 10 pairs of ribs rather than 12.
The fuck?
Okay, well, a human with this level of problems, I'm not blown away by missing ribs.
So purportedly, this was found in 2003. It was found in a deserted mining town called La Noria in Chile's Atacama region. It has thought to be ancient at first, but initial analysis conducted in 2012 proved the skeleton was only about 40 years old. I mean, this is just nonsense. I just don't believe this. This is somebody's dumpster baby.
Why are aliens so heavily invested in South and Central America? Like it's so many of them are like Argentina or Chile or somewhere around there.
Peru.
Like, yeah, Peru. How often
Here's a
is it that a
question.
Canadian finds one?
Why is
like,
it that
never?
since we've started having video cameras in our pockets, there haven't been more aliens captured, like on camera? Right? It used to be you'd go camping and people would have like alien abductions. Now that everyone has a video camera, the alien abductions have dropped dramatically.
That got rid of a ton of the horse shit, but it also left some stuff that I don't have a good enough eye to ever tell. Like if you go on the UFO or the UFOs plural subreddits, you'd be like, shit, I don't know if that's all right. So maybe that's an alien, or maybe this is someone really good at editing. I don't know. Like,
but you gotta be careful in there.
See videos on there of a craft that like
you can't explain it.
One, and I was like, can't explain that. Better go to the comments. And they're like, this is a commercial from 2019. Like this is a clip from a video game. This is Photoshop. This is editing. And it's like, it's so good.
Dude,
you can't tell. I mean, CGI
those things
so
get me a lot. There's some Ukrainian footage of a jet that like dodges 12 pieces of anti-air and then like hits its bomb and zips off into freedom. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is intense. And they're like, that's Arma 4. That you totally bought it. And I did.
I gotta play Arma 4.
Right?
Best advertisement ever.
And then there's another one. I guess there's a guy just like, oh, the humanity as gigantic waves roll in. And then he's like, what? There's a person surfing on it. And the wave like comes crashing. You see him, he's killing it. And then he's like, oh no. And then the wave, like the breaking part of it catches up to the guy, but then he pulls through and gets free again. He's like, oh my God, it's a Powerade commercial. But if you see it, you'd be fooled too. It is outrageously good.
There's an old commercial where there's like some African, might not even be a commercial, it's an internet clip. There's like 3 or 4 African like warlord looking motherfuckers with AKs and camo on. And a monkey comes up and they're all, oh, look at the little monkey. And they give it a gun. And they think it's so funny. And then the thing fucking picks the thing up and goes, da 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 da. And they're all running from the monkey. And he looks like he's operating the machine gun. Not well, but like he's figured out if you squeeze it just right, it kills. And then like maybe the cameraman falls over or something like that. And I was like, the fuck was that, bro? Because I don't know.
You fell for that one? I know exactly the video. You thought a 30-pound monkey was wielding an AK-47 like that?
It was not a 30-pound monkey. When he picked it up, it might have been a baboon or a chimp. It was a monkey that could handle a firearm.
So one of a kind.
What was it? Do you know the origin of the video?
I honestly don't, but I guarantee it was a commercial or something. I bet it was a teaser for a Netflix movie where animals get smart and take over. It was some shit like that.
Animals
the one that didn't fool me, of course,
smart.
The miniature giraffe, like the mini giraffe that was like your pet. That one didn't get me, thankfully. But
embarrassing.
So I am addicted to this one
Wings
YouTuber. I think his name is Brian Cox. The guy, he's British. Yeah, okay, yeah. Physicist, I think. Anyway, he's convinced me that we might be alone in the universe. He's talked about alien life, and by the way, when I say life, I mean intelligent, complex life, not viruses and amoebas and stuff.
Yeah, somebody you talk to.
Sure. So he says the universe is 12 billion years old. Apparently, we know this. All right. Earth is about 4 billion years old. So a third of the universe's entire span of existence. And Earth has had basically a stable environment for 4 billion years. That's how long it took for the amoebas and specks and whatever to evolve into humans, about 4 billion years. And he's like, it is very possible that 4 billion years of stable, like life providing planets is rare. When we look around, other planets have more comets, and the suns get bigger and smaller, and the climates change in dramatic ways, and Earth has been pretty much stable for a third of the universe's existence. That doesn't happen much. That's why we're not talking to other people.
Could be true.
I'm only as good as my source, but I
rarer.
bought into it, and he's very convincing. He says it better than me.
I think that in that case, I think I've seen that video. He was addressing the answer that what they call the Fermi paradox, about how theoretically, if the universe is infinite, that means there's infinite planets with infinite stages of life, and some of them out there should be able to manipulate what we call space-time, surely. So I think I would have imagined that was theorizing. I remember that, but I love Brian Cox, man. That dude is completely awesome. He explains things in a really great way. He's become a big favorite of mine over Neil deGrasse lately for the way that he breaks things down. I do remember that clip, and he said, and he also pointed out that in 4 billion years of a constant chain of life on Earth, we don't have the technology to leave our solar system yet, despite having 4 entire billion years of a chain. Now, that being said, we had a mass extinction event that happened, and life kind of started over. Yeah, true. We've got a lot.
I think when you say, so everything he said, I'm sure makes sense and is true. The only thing that I would say is, like, I think the Earth had a bunch of, I think for like 1.5 billion years, it was like on fire, like molten.
At the beginning.
It was a while before the surface wasn't just a big molten pool of rock. And then it's because at some point something hit us and became the moon. Something big hit us and we coalesced, and then a blob came off and became the moon. We know it did. They can. It's fun. There's questions. They're like, well, how do they know? How do they know how big it was? Well, because if it had been any bigger, it would have hit our core and stolen that iron away. But there's no iron. The moon doesn't have an iron core, so they know it didn't penetrate what we would think of as like the proto-Earth, the first Earth before it got hit. So to go all the way to the core.
Is the moon the thing that hit us, or is the moon a piece of Earth, or a little of both? Are there elements? I'm asking. I don't know how to ask my stupid question, but are there things on the moon that you don't get from Earth because they came from a meteorite?
I would assume so.
I don't know anything about that, but I've seen a simulation, like a computer simulation of like what they think it would have looked like. And you just got like a smaller ball hitting a bigger ball, but then they just become this weird flowy mass of like molten glass, and then a blob sort of like flicks off and slowly falls into an orbit. It was really
Would the Earth still be like so nice and round after that collision?
Gravity does that.
Rounder,
the whole thing like moltenified and then went back into a sphere again.
Yeah, well, there's plate tectonics as well, right? So
of course, plate tectonics.
It's all always eating itself and replenishing, right? Well, I mean, how plate tectonics work. That's not. Don't act like that's above anybody's head.
I didn't think about how that.
Yeah,
would
I think Josh knows though. Like with gravity, like if you take something in zero gravity, like a drop of water in zero gravity, it's going to form a sphere as it just floats there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A video I saw about it also demonstrated something similar to what Kyle was talking about, and it was like they slow-moed a drop of water, and they showed that when the drop hits, it sinks deep down into it, but then there's that splashback, if you will. And they said that basically the same thing would have happened with a planet, and that's why you see spikes in the middle of craters on the moon and stuff like that, and probably something similar on. Oh, okay, here we go. Is that the one you were talking about, Kyle?
What? Yeah. Well, I mean, more or less.
Yeah. Now it's gonna get its own gravity
because of like the quality that it looks.
Yeah.
So did a lot of these form into like that belt of, what is it called? The Kuiper belt? Is that like the
Kuiper belt
that's around us, or super far away?
I don't think
so. Kuiper belt is the one that's super, super duper far away. I don't know how.
Do we not have many asteroids? We don't have.
There's
many
a big
hanging
belt.
Out around us.
So don't think belt or like a congested thing of them like in Star Trek. But between Mars and Jupiter, there is a sphere of asteroids, not a ring of asteroids that's going around the solar plane with us. But it's a loosely packed. You could, when you see them navigating asteroid fields and you see they're everywhere, that's just crazy silliness.
It doesn't take an exceptionally good Starfleet pilot to navigate the asteroid fields in real life.
Miles and miles apart. like you wouldn't see one from the other probably.
If you were moving at like relative speeds,
you need a telescope and like some knowledge to figure out.
Well, they're at impulse speed, so that's not that fast.
I think I don't know how fast impulse speed is.
That kind of sucks. We only get one.
They do though. There's a handbook that lays all that stuff out. Your ideal vice president, the one that would earn your vote for Donald Trump. That would be the contributory, Terry, to earning the vote. I guess a good VP. When do you think that would help?
Joe Rogan.
That would be funny. He'd be like, immediately, he'd be like, I was right about all the aliens. Like, I was right. I looked in the deep files.
That's the thing. Yeah. When Trump got elected, I really hoped that he would look into the aliens and some of the conspiracies and just start spilling secrets. He did spill a secret or two, but not the ones I wanted. Not those.
Good ones.
Rogan would. Rogan would.
He'd get too fucked up on mushrooms. He'd start tweeting like the state secrets.
DMT, and this is a real alien. Dude, aliens and UFOs have gotten more attention from either U.S. government than they have before. I find that interesting. Like,
why do you think that is?
There's been a lot of like. So by the way, UFO, of course, we think of it meaning alien spaceship, but it just means unidentified. And there have been a lot of really credible, hard to explain, unidentified flying aircraft captured by like Navy pilots and stuff like that. And it's getting released a bit more, and Congress is starting to look at it. And I just wanted to pay attention to it. I don't even know if it's intelligent life that's flying around, whatever, but I think it's cool, and I want to spend some tax dollars on it.
I think they're drones. Yeah. And like one thing I that I considered, because the reason that like smart people always say that it's not most likely not aliens is because all the other planets and stars are so fucking far away. Like it just seems unlikely that they came this far to like drive real fast on our sky for some reason, you know. But like
that's exactly what the USS Enterprise does. Checkmate.
But maybe they sent something. Maybe they sent. It could be an alien probe, I guess is what I'm saying. Like maybe it's their UAV flying around, because those things do such weird shit in all the videos I've seen. And I've seen some go underwater. So maybe I like to imagine that deep under the ocean, maybe there's some aqua people. And I don't think that that's that far fetched. There being an intelligent group of people down there under the ocean, real deep. Atlanteans from cartoons, yes, but not the traditional
Shark
Atlanteans that lived on
like
that
the,
island.
Street Sharks, bro. Like
Street Sharks!
Oh, what a great show.
Yeah,
I thought they were so cool. Just rollerblading. They never would bite people, though. I hated that.
I find it hard to believe that, like, if an alien race came from like billions of light years away, like they have the technology to be able to fucking travel like instantaneously to another fucking star system, that they couldn't have the technology to just not be seen by us. Like, surely they would be like advanced enough to just be like, we don't want these fuckers to see us.
We also we always assume that whoever shows up is going to be at the stage where they're like hyperdrive space. They're almost like pure energy beings. Like it could be, you know how all of our movies are like, we're sending this to Rigel 7, the 5th generation will arrive, and everyone else will live on this. So like, it could be that when they show up here, it is the inbred lunatics of aliens. You know,
they're pilgrims.
Prior. They are not sending their best, folks.
Murders and religious crazy.
So they come out of like the motherfuckers on Alien Resurrection, where there's just like all the rapists in their like little fucking religious colony.
That's what it would be.
Well, there's a remember the
Handmaid's Tale people.
There was a TV series where a spaceship landed in LA. Maybe it was hovering, but it's very similar to the what's the Blomkamp movie with the where you had the apartheid allegory with the aliens.
Sector 9 or
District
something.
Yeah. Like Sector 9 or whatever. It's kind of like that, but they had like kind of bigger heads, but these were like the slave race as well. So like they didn't really know anything cool. Like the people who actually knew the cool shit were gone by now. It's kind of the same idea, and they're integrating into life in Los Angeles. And of course, they're dealing with like racism, and people are calling them weird slurs because of their heads and stuff. But I liked that the women's erogenous zone was like their back, whereas like with us, it's our front, right? Because breasts and stuff. And there's a great scene where like the guy is dating an alien.
Oh, I've been fucking wrong.
Actually,
I can't remember the name of that show.
I'm all shoulders, baby.
Reminds me of the aliens from South Park, where he's like, "Oh yeah, suck on my jag on," and he's got like that dick on his shoulder.
I remember the Goobacks episode was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was a funny one.
Bro, if aliens ever came here and like landed, and we negotiated like there are too many. Like I just feel like no one would really know what they're getting into.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I've said
Or
that
what
many
if it
times.
was like antithetic? Like, what if it was like any period of peacetime is anomalous to them? Like, and they are total violence, total conquest, total
It
fight.
seems unlikely,
That's possible.
though, right? It
No.
seems more likely that look, they work together enough to get here, like somehow.
They
So
work for
I love the
themselves.
scenario.
Could be.
Yeah, they had to work together to get that to happen, though, as a species, right? Like I like the
Or
idea
as
of
the winning
coming
side of
here
the species.
and us being way more aggressive and sneaky and backstabby,
And they're
They
short.
don't, and yeah, just everything. Just we're real hard. We're hard to deal with. I can't. There's a lot
Like
of
humans are like
the Vulcans
badass.
and the Vulcans in Star Trek don't really understand the concept of lying. They find it difficult. You know,
What if hands? What if like nothing else evolved like as good as hands? And they're like these fucking bastards.
we
and
can
their
only push
dexterous
the one
nonsense.
button at a time?
They don't have to use their tongue prongs
over there
to select things.
They can stay awake for so long. They eat
Or they got-
poisonous peppers for fun.
They've got
But have any of
claws
you
or
heard of
something.
the hunters in a dark forest
I was
solution to the
thinking
Fermi
that.
paradox?
That's what I was
See?
thinking. Did you read Dark Forest, by the way?
I did
'Cause
not
that's-
read the Dark
That's
Forest.
where I
read
heard
the
of
summary.
this.
I read the summary of it, and I read more about the theory. Which, in
It's so
short,
funny that you came to that
Yeah.
conclusion from what he was saying. It's because that's because you prompted me when you said that that's how they will be.
Yep.
Like
So
you're
what-
like
can you
it's
catch
you're
me
in
up
a
on what
dark
this is?
forest, and you are any civilization or species or anything that is on your level or anything. If they are here, like you are all being silent. You're all treading through the dark forest silently. You don't want to be the creature that makes a noise. You don't want to do that. So like they wouldn't necessarily come here and announce themselves unless they were most certainly coming to easily destroy us.
Yeah, and they would.
But I just gotta say, I really believe in us that we are just fucked up in weird ways, dude. Like they're gonna come here and be like, we are here to destroy you all. And we are gonna be like, stop. Are you familiar with fucking? Because we got 1 million humans right here that are gonna fuck you and suck you, and they're gonna be like, "What is fucking?" And we're gonna be like,
you're gonna
give
find
us,
out.
give us 1 hour,
Yeah.
1 hour, and then literally, boom, they're tied up, BDSM shit. We're fucking milking them and using them as batteries to run our planet.
Have you
Like
been in
we're
Peru
crazy,
lately?
bro.
We're just doing that, just milking aliens for batteries, because they're like, we didn't anticipate how
Oh,
good
no.
it would feel to come. And
Oh.
and they're
I'm
like,
just saying, listen, I just
"We
came up with
came
that
here
right now.
so
I don't know
violent,
what we
and
would do.
We're robots now.
I don't know what we would do.
Oh, we would absolutely fuck the aliens. They can consent. They're conscious.
That's the
No.
that's the
It all
scenario I
depends
wanna
on who
see,
gets
though,
to the
because
other
we've
person's
seen-
planet first.
in sci-fi movies, we've seen all the other scenarios. We've seen the warriors who are coming to take over in Independence Day. We've seen like the friendly guys who are just visiting in ET's like an accident, but in Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
butt
they're
fuck a bunch of
visiting and
ETs,
and
useless.
interacting. We don't know what kind of tech they've got. He made a bicycle fly, dude. Get out of here.
No, the tech's
Yeah,
crazy.
but
he
if
phoned,
there's FBI
he phoned
agents-
home with a calculator. Like the tech is crazy.
His fucking finger glows and does magic.
Yeah,
You're gonna
but Kyle,
and he,
if those FBI agents had guns
Leave
instead of
ET alone.
walkie-talkies, they would
Yeah.
have taken them right out of the sky.
we don't know if he can take a bullet. What if they bounced off of him? We don't know. that
They
he's not
are in the
bulletproof.
Star Wars universe. All the ET aliens are there. They might be force
They
sensitive.
are. So that's George Lucas is such a fucking lame piece of shit. He snuck the ET aliens into Star Wars in the background. That he
Yeah,
was
but
right.
but the
Yeah.
most important thing is that there's a Yoda costume in ET. So ET creatures confirmed same universe as Star Wars. So he is force sensitive.
Yeah.
Like I operate on that. Like ET was in Star Wars, and there's a Yoda
Force
costume.
sensitive.
There's a Yoda costume in ET. Like
So you're saying that ET is a Jedi? He's
no.
force
Being
sensitive.
force
Not a
sensitive, a Jedi
not-
is entirely different thing.
he's
That's like
entirely
being.
different thing.
It's like he's not Jewish, but he's circumcised.
Of course, I've
Mm-hmm.
got you. No, it's like he's not Jewish, but he's good with money.
Yes.
Yes.
So they're Jew-ish.
Yeah, like that one guy who said, "I didn't say I was Jewish. I said I was Jewish."
And
you know,
all right, there's Alienation. That's when the aliens show up, but they were the slave race on the big ship, very similar to District 9 or whatever, where you've got the slave race who doesn't really know much about the tech. They were just fucking turning the knobs, and the master race that built all the tech had been, turned on. They died from a virus, I think, in one of the movies. I don't remember the other. Maybe they turned on them. But then all of a sudden we have these simpleton slave race people. That's Alienation. And it's more of a humanitarian issue, just housing them and feeding and clothing them and integrating them into our society. And Alienation, they get drunk on spoiled milk, and salt water is like battery acid to them. So there's all these little weird things. Their erogenous zone is their back, so not their front. So you could easily get up the front of a girl's shirt, but you'd have a hard time giving her a massage.
Kids grow up faster, learn faster. They can hold their breath for 15 minutes, but it's all a big allegory for racism.
Yes, it's about immigrants coming in, taking our gerbs. But
is it a little ham-handed?
No, it's honestly not ham-handed. I don't think it is. I think you can enjoy.
I think if you went back,
is there a scene where they say we're not that different?
Yeah.
Every episode
and that
ends
is
like that.
ham-handed as shit.
No,
it's
but
James
it's like
Caan.
it's like a
Caan's in the
campy,
movie?
fun, it's low stakes kind of. Everything's gonna get solved in 21 minutes. Like everything. They're gonna present the problem and deal with it.
I haven't seen the TV show. I need to. I'm talking about.
Okay.
The
TV show is way cheesier.
So James Caan James Caan's a detective, and his partner gets killed by one of these souped up newcomers. And he barely kills the guy. He dumps his whole gun into the guy and finally kills him. Yeah, that's what they're called. And so he makes it his mission to track down the newcomers that killed his partner. And to aid him in this, he agrees to take on the department's first newcomer detective. He's like, yeah, he'll be my partner. Nobody wants him. He's a pariah. He's been alive. He's 7 years old or something. That's how their race works. So he's been he's been picked for this job because he's a newcomer, not because he's necessarily good at the job. It's a good movie. I liked it. I watched it a couple months ago. I need to watch the TV show. I forgot it existed. But James Caan.
I always like that stuff where you were saying the battery acid, and I know it's just little details that's just said in a moment in the show, and especially when I was younger, that's the shit that would stick with me, and I would think about for the rest of the episode while not really taking in what the episode was about. But that's what I always loved about Mass Effect was the little details about certain species. They'll say things in conversation that they made this conversation. You didn't have to go this deep and sit here. A lot of people want to get to the exciting stuff, and I'm there and I'm like, oh, Crow can have 4 testicles. And that's interesting because the women haven't been able to give birth for a long time. And it's not any messaging about Earth or a message here. They're just this is a story, and that's how shit is. That's how some shit is. And I miss in the 90s, 90s movies, you would watch a movie and a thing would happen and the bad guys escapes and then now the good guy's there. And he's like, what? And he's like, sorry, and kill. And it's the end and you're sick. But these days you leave a movie and you're like, how the fuck did he get there? So he was here and then he's there, but you never asked shit like that in 1992. Not only because you were a 7-year-old idiot, but no one did. My parents never left, and they were like, "How did that guy get? And how did the car?" And sometimes I watch old movies. I'm like, "Yo, we like this." My parents paid money, sat in the movie, and they didn't ask how ever at any point. Sometimes shit just happened because it's the fucking movie. And that can happen, bro.
But sometimes that's great. Big Trouble in Little China. It's an hour and 45 minutes long, but 87 things happen in that movie so fucking fast you don't get a chance to think about it at all.
Great movie.
It still works though.
I never drive. What does he say? I never drive faster than I can see. What does that even mean?
What the
Who's in that?
It's all in
Kurt Russell.
It's all in the reflexes. David Hong as Lopan is fucking hilarious.
Yep. And Kurt Russell's doing his best. Who's the fucking famous John Wayne impression? He's a big rig driver, and he's coming into San Francisco, meeting up with his Asian pal, and his Asian pal just happens to be picking up his fucking girlfriend coming over from China. You're not gonna believe it. She's a green-eyed Asian girl. Can you believe it? A Chinese girl with green eyes is going on about this beautiful girl. He's like, well, I'll come with you to the airport. and they go to the airport, and wouldn't you know it, fucking Yakuza come out of nowhere, fucking snatch her up, run off with her in a car. They chase them to Chinatown, and it turns out they're not Yakuza. They're fucking like dark warriors for at least 2 or 3 Raiden style Chinese demon princes.
Raiden was based on them. Mortal Kombat was based on them.
They're floating down with lightning storms and stuff, and it switches gears so fast from guy driving a big rig, visiting his buddy, getting a girlfriend from the airport, and now there's magic. Now there's magic and lightning coming out of fingers. And
that's like the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. And but toward the end, there's monster men in an underground lair. There's fucking
the floating head with eyeballs that looks like a doom demon.
It's fun.
The best really part, fun. The bad guy is an ancient evil Chinese sorcerer. And one of the guys on the good guys team is his former friend, a good Chinese sorcerer. And when they meet, you think, oh man, it's a big magic battle. No, they literally pull out these little balls and open them, and like little magic Pokemon come out, and they have like a little fucking Pokemon battle. And they're like, haha, 10,000 years and you never beat me at Pokemon. It's fucking awesome.
I don't remember that part. I genuinely don't.
That sounds pretty funny.
But it absolutely happened. But it's so much happens though. That's so stupid.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really good movie. Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, that's a good one. I like everything Kurt Russell's ever done. He's
Have you ever
Kurt
seen
Russell
his commentary?
Escape from LA?
No, all
right,
New York.
But I know, but he said everything. He said he likes everything.
Yeah, I said
I don't know,
everything.
Taylor, you ever see Escape from New York?
Escape from LA has its moments.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, I think
Escape
I have.
from LA?
No,
first
I
of all,
saw LA
Escape from
Confidential.
Escape from LA has many moments. Far more moments than Escape from New York. Are they better? Absolutely not. Not a single one. But it is all moments.
I was talking about this with a friend not long ago, but like it was 66 years, I'm pretty sure, from the Wright brothers flying for the first time to putting a man on the moon. 66 years.
Wow.
That is not a long time. Like that's a life, And since then, since 1969, what do we have? Some like telecom advancements?
No, I think no. Do not downplay. It is incredible that we put a man on the moon allegedly with 64 what is it? 64 kilobits of RAM, or like literally like a Game Boy, right? And don't quote me on that because it's probably off.
Less.
But but basically with some bullshit. And now like my cell phone is so much better, etc. While we haven't done anything that is what I should say is
in the physical realm.
In the physical realm, as incredibly monumental seeming, the telescope that we just put out, the one that James Webb is like the pinnacle of human engineering for the last 20 years. It like the deployment, the way that they've got it out there, the amount of different like points of failure that they've got, the way that it's operating now. Like like 2004.
I saw that it was geosynchronous in the Earth's shadow.
Yeah, in the Earth's shadow to make sure that it doesn't wash out the telescope. Like, images.
When do they get first images from that? Like when are we going to see stuff?
I actually don't. I mean,
is it going to stay near Earth? It's not like
it's it's locked.
Did the Hubble leave? Am I right about that? The Hubble like just goes farther and farther. Maybe I'm thinking of the Voyager or something.
No, the Voyager goes further and further. I think the Hubble just got decommissioned, or they're not gonna need it after this.
So the space telescope is like closer than the moon, but that Voyager thing is like it left the solar system a couple years ago.
That one's just radio signals. We're just like we just chucked that shit, and we were like, hey, call back, send us text messages.
I made a mistake. I conflated them, but James Webb is just gonna stay nearby in the Earth's shadow, taking pictures.
Taking photos of the most absurdly high quality. It's like a 3 or 5 mirror system or whatever, where it bounces in, bounces off, bounces in, bounces off, and then what I asked was, does that mean that we're gonna get incredible HD photos of every planet, right? Like I love seeing deep space stuff, but like I also want to see the shit around us in higher detail. And while the answer is like yes, it can, they're not going to focus it on Jupiter. Like that's just not what they're down to do with this thing. They're going to do, that famous photo of like we focus the Hubble in this blank square for 1 week, and here's that. They're going to do more stuff like that and more high quality of things that are that were just in like tiny dots of light.
They're looking for the origins of the universe. Like
they're trying to see. This will let us see further than we've ever even remotely seen before, to the point where they're like, we might hit it. We might hit the render distance of the universe with.
They've already hit the render distance of the universe.
Have they? With like
with what we have? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just cool. It's just gonna be great, but the fact that
I like
it all
describing
worked
it as the render distance, like a Minecraft sort of like.
Listen, we're all gamers, baby.
No, it's good. It works for me.
That's because it's a lot harder for anyone to explain or understand space expanding and what that actually means.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
until what is it expanding into?
Because as a child, I thought that that just meant everything was flying away from each other in a big void, but what it means is that the void is growing.
Yeah,
the void itself, the void between every object is growing. Space is expanding.
The only thing that I wish that we gain more knowledge on is like the I just want more perspective on the infinitesimally large space like universe stuff. It's so hard to like look at anything that somebody writes or types or says and then be able to conceptualize what they mean, because every single time it just boils down to like, yeah, that's pretty big. I just can't. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's little steps that are big to engineers. But as like a guy on the ground here, I want to see us punch a fucking alien or like step on Mars or what
I want to see us get on Mars. Yeah.
Yeah. What I would have them do with that space telescope is, like you said, like stuff in our solar system, especially like the places we think there might be life under ice, like on those moons. And what I really want them to do is just find a planet, like find the closest planet outside of our solar system, and show me the best image you could do of that.
How far away is that?
I don't know.
The closest habitable planet or the closest?
No, just a planet, just a rock outside of our solar system. Show it to me.
I want to know what color it is. You know what? I'm going to go a step further and say that what I would really enjoy is, because I know we have the tech and the capability to do so, especially now with the relays that we have. I want to live stream from people on the moon, and I also want to watch it in HD right now on the Earth, and I want to see you big ass bright light strobing at the moon. I want to look back. I want to see it.
I want to be able to donate to make the astronaut do things.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Gamify it.
Yeah. like if that shit's not on Twitch the next time a person's on the moon and he's not like responding to chat, then I don't want to live.
Pussy Slayer 72 donated $5 to NASA. Says
stream ends in disaster once NASA enables
out soon. Nerd.
Text this means 777.
Okay, we are here on the moon, and Gamerboy69. I will not say that. That's a new thing.
Because it's not what it appears, as always.
Could it be aliens? Are you saying it's aliens again? Taylor believes in aliens.
Do I? I do. More than anything. More than anything, I believe in them.
All right, I believe in them then.
We know you do. You're all about it's because it's your greatest fear. Being molested by an alien.
Dude, it is my biggest fear, being molested by aliens. It's genuinely all right. Like, I don't want to burn alive or whatever in an upturned car because my lower body doesn't work from the impact. Like, that's pretty shitty. But I really don't want aliens, especially the ones from Fire in the Sky. Those ugly gray aliens with their open mouths and their dark, black, unfeeling eyes to like experiment and vivisect me on a fucking sci-fi table. That is one of my biggest
I feel like
fears.
This is almost a little arrogant and bordering on narcissistic. Like, they have a whole planet of people to molest, and you think you're the belle of the ball here?
In the 90s, everybody was getting scooped up. You don't remember. You were too young. It was a scary time, Taylor. It was like,
it was a scary time. You're 4.5 years older than me.
Man can learn a lot in 4.5 years.
You can learn a lot. I was only 2, but Kyle was a wizard.
Those were
6.5
years, boy, I tell you. That was in the era when Fox would have a special every Friday night about alien abductions and cattle mutilations. Do you remember cattle mutilations?
I remember
crop circles.
Somebody was actually going around fucking with cows, which is the awful part. Like, somebody's out there burning cows with lasers and shit and draining their blood. Some weirdo in fucking Oklahoma. but they blame it on the aliens, and they'd have this 30-minute special, and I'm 12 or something, and I'm just like, holy shit, it can't all be fake. I remember that's exactly what I thought. I was like, there's no way you can do 30 minutes a week of complete bullshit. Some of this is real. And I got that in my head, and it was
I have it on good
because then I watched the X-Files.
You can do 4 hours a week of complete bullshit, Kyle.
You can do 4. You can.
It's like 7-year-old Kyle's Occam's razor. It's like, all right, if half of this is true and half of it's bullshit.
That was exactly it. Then it's so scary. But if half of it's true, then they're coming for us.
I've never been spooked by aliens.
No,
it's never been a.
There's no defense against them.
Yeah, but I just feel like I am so not interesting enough to be taken by an alien.
All right, so a good movie, an okay movie came out like last year, the year before, and it's an alien is in this lady's house. It's like a home intruder, but it's an alien, and she's fighting the alien Home Alone style.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
I can't remember the name. It was pretty fucking good.
It was pretty all right. She had it like she had dead under like a fucking rug or something.
Yeah, she kills it at the end. I think maybe it has yellow blood. It was cool. Because I genuinely fear those gray aliens from the X-Files. I just watched too much of that shit as a kid. I was 7 or 8 watching the X-Files, and that shit was scary, dude. I'm still a little afraid they'll come get me.
They won't get you.
They're not fine. Real.
They just abduct you like, Kyle, stay the line. Hello, my friends.
I'll say whatever the fuck they want. I'll say whatever they want.
If you get abducted by illegals, it's going to be Pedro and Enrique.
Oh my god! Is it that Tim Allen movie where the aliens have been watching my YouTube videos? They just got to him, and they think I'm a warlord, and they need me to fight their battles for them. Can we do that? That'd be a fun alien abduction. Yeah, well, I mean, they'd be better than a vivisected experiment, right?
Fair. Yeah.
Let's see what happens when we cut his butthole in half.
He hates it.
And the other guy looks at him and goes, they always hate it.
I'm going to be shitting like an elite from Halo.
They always hate it.
Sir, I don't mean to be a drag, but we're not learning anything. Shut up. Put him on the table. Your asshole's next up.
So fucking scary.
Yeah. As if they couldn't just give us a little remote scan with their space age technology and immediately know all our info.
Is that what we do to dogs at the veterinarian clinic? We just immediately give them a $5,000 MRI.
If we had the technology up their asses. If we had the technology to fly trillions of space years to go to another planet and then just pick people up on a lark, because imagine these aliens that would be coming here and doing this slapshod job. These are hobbyists. They're not even part of the alien government.
Taylor,
they're just futzing around. Like if we did that, we'd put a dog in a scanner. We already have scanners you can put animals in.
See, here's the problem. You're imagining that they sent their best, that this is like their equivalent of a fucking astronaut. No. This is like a hillbilly alien. This is like a hillbilly alien.
That's the complete opposite of what I just said. I said that they were they're hobbyist retards who are like, let's go on down to Earth and look at someone's ass.
Taylor, you keep saying these are their scientists. It's not like that.
You're just wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah, Trump would be out there being like, they're not scientists. They're the worst.
They're not sending their best.
They're not sending their best from Zyklon 6.
If I went to some other planet and discovered another like life, what am I looking for? Another life, and there were like certain holes in it, holes on the blowholes on the top or whatever, I'd definitely spend special attention on those holes.
See what's in there. What do they do with that hole? What can I do with that hole?
It seems like the least invasive way to see what's inside them. You probe it.
See, but that's the maybe thing. This is what we would do is the analog of us in this alien society, their highest ranking scientists, or is it the retards? It's
Taylor, these people are enlightened enough to legalize. I think they see it as bestiality, maybe, and they're very enlightened, so it's legal on their planet. And,
Boo! Boo!
What?
They're not bigots against goat fuckers. That's a good point.
Woody and I were talking about this just the other day. He agreed with me. I was like, it doesn't make sense. You can enslave them. You can breed them. You can force one to fuck the other. Like you decide which ones fuck. Okay? You can chop them up for meat. You can cut a hole in the side of their digestive system and put a porthole in them so that your children can reach into their innards anytime they want just to see how you digest cud. You can do all that. You can do all that. We have cooking channel about melting them in various ways. We cook other things in their melted fat. We cook their babies in their fat and then stuff that into their meat.
Yeah.
But you can't fuck them.
I think
You
the
can't
difference
fuck 'em,
is
Taylor.
all of
Why
those
can't you
other
fuck 'em?
things.
What do you
All of
want?
those other things serve a purpose that isn't to come.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
act like coming's not a good reason to do something.
Yeah, but you could go.
You just checkmated yourself, sir.
You can either go have sex or jack off like an adult. Dude, we're probably like 3 cycles from some guy running for president who's like, yeah, we should be able to fuck him. Like, why not? You know?
2032, 2036. Someone's
President
gonna be like,
Catboy, what do you think?
Yeah, he's
showing pictures of like human and goat vaginas and their similarities.
Will we finally see VP Fido's real face? Or will he be in his fursona?
The sci-fi movie that I crave, or even if it was an anime or anything, just let me see this story. I want the aliens to show up and be like blown away by how well armed we are. I want them to be like, holy shit, there's 50,000 warheads. Yes, sir, they're on the way now. What? Well, there's nothing we can do then. That's it. And then they just all die, and then we harvest their technology. I just want that. I want the beginning of the story to be us just wiping the floor with an alien
Even in
invasion.
sci-fi, that would be
The
far-fetched.
end of the story is a
Is it?
nuclear winter.
Yeah,
And we, in our own population
we shoot them into
dies.
space. We
it would
don't
have
shoot
to
them
be
down
set.
here.
It would have to be set in the far future where we're at least somewhat
imagine
peers
this.
to
All right,
aliens.
here's the scenario because I just realized.
Like,
there's a
would you
second
ever
part
show
to it.
up at the, like, if you went to the most vast and impressive termite mound in all of Africa,
Silly
would you be like, wow, billions of these live here? Unbelievable
I don't
technology.
know if that's
like,
I think it would be more like
if we're
like
on, this, on our
a
planet,
hipster tour group shows up to like a warring race in the Amazon. Like, oh, holy fuck! Wait
that's
a
probably
minute.
what it would actually be. We'd be like a TV
What if
show.
they're
more
li-
than, no, it's
What if they're little? And I've always said, what if they're little ant people? Like they came from one gigantic ant colony where there was no war. Everybody's in a hive mind scenario, so they've never had combat. They never had France and Britain warring with each other for centuries, and after centuries, driving the production of firearms technology and all sorts of weaponry. They don't need a lot of guns in space because it's not too crowded. They show up completely unprepared, not even understanding the concept of interspecies war or conflict in general. Perhaps maybe they've never even had disagreements because of the hive mind. So the idea of having to solve a disagreement with violence is that's a step beyond where their minds could even go. But then they show up fucking here wanting all our sugar, and we got so much. And where do they come? USA, baby. They come for the sugar, and we take them down. We take them down. They don't even understand our technology. And the whole planet, Russia too, we launch all of our nukes at their ant spaceships, all of them. We send all the nukes into space at the ant ships, and we completely destroy them. But and in the next day, we realize we just completely got rid of all the nukes. Nobody has nukes anymore. It's a new world, and so we get to live in that future where we've got ant technology, and there's a race.
I would not watch this movie.
You'd watch a season of it. You'd watch 6
I'd watch a
episodes.
season of it. The ant people have arrived, and they somehow have the most advanced technology ever, and slingshots.
They've got ant drive. That's it. They've got space travel.
But then you get season 2 where we figure out how to weaponize the ant technology, and we
No,
have
the
super
termites
nukes.
show up. The termites were chasing the ants.
You're too
They're
fixated
the
on
warrior
bugs,
species.
Stanley, man. You're so fixated on bugs.
You want them to be monkey people like us? So I want them to be insects.
Yeah, I would like them to be monkey.
The insect life cycle is really neat too. Like imagine if it's a hierarchy of bugs where they kind of like Starship Troopers.
A praying mantis,
but more diverse.
Like,
I need more diversity. I need like millipedes, like running around getting intel and shit. And I need like flying, like fluttery stuff. Like I need a worm boss, like Jabba the Hutt, but he's a big brain worm.
We
Now
could
it's just
defeat their
unbelievable.
society by teaching them racism. Get all the
Ooh, the queen would be
that hate
sexy
this
though.
type of
You
people.
do like a sexy ant queen. Like she'd have human titties inexplicably.
I would want like some sort of insect pope, but he's a mantis, one of the mantis family. That's a very regal.
Ooh,
You guys are getting
type of-
very close to just describing the plot of Halo.
Large mantises are terrifying.
Yeah, a big mantis, and he's the only one that can speak English. Actually, now, why am I encouraging this? I don't like this idea. I don't like.
All right. Well, I mean,
Like,
you
what if there were
pick
multiple
yourself.
alien species and you had like a prophet of truth or something like that? That was just like an alien bishop.
See, now this seems like it has legs. They could make a 3-game, 5-game series about it.
Yeah, but the Spartans are
People love
stupid. I don't want to do that. I want some little space marine guys. Like
They'd have to all be the same kind of insect. because I've watched enough of those Japanese videos that if you put like different insects together, they make no bones and waste no time about like
but they've
going to the throat.
But they're intelligent. They've evolved, and like maybe the master race has like some sort of pheromone signaling they can do to control the lesser bugs.
That's kind of fun. I like that.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think the ant people would get the technology except through war with the mantises and the millipedes, right?
I think it's if
they lived in peace forever, it would just
the
be
termites
like,
are like their arch enemies, the termites. They go at it big time. Yeah, I think the termites spit acid. If that Pixar cartoon was telling me the truth.
Yes, yeah, I remember watching that as a kid and being like, they're marching off to war. Do you remember that part?
Yeah,
in the very beginning, and he's like, "Look out, these guys, spit." Is the guy's voice the same as Putty from Seinfeld, that big ant, or is it?
I think it's Stallone. I think it's Sylvester Stallone.
Be careful, they spit acid, or like whatever. I don't remember who it was. I remember the big ant.
Watch Rocky, you could do a better Stallone.
I'm never gonna watch it. I don't give a shit about that fucking gay movie. I'm not gonna watch it.
Right. It's Sylvester Stallone.
It's such a dude. It gets you so pumped, and the soundtrack's so good. Eye of the Tiger, the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of your rival. You're the last survivor.
just saying the whole song
in the dead of the night. All right,
keep going. What's the next line?
I don't know. I got to sing it to know it.
I got to sing the whole thing. It's like the ABCs. You can't start in the middle.
Dead of the night. Da, 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 da. I don't know the rest. No. Yeah, that's a wonderful movie. It won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, and Stallone wrote that shit. It's real good. Like he's not stupid Stallone. He's like a heartfelt character.
No, I know. Ants was good. Ants was good. I liked it.
I didn't like Ants. It was like the bootleg Bug's Life, I think.
I mean, it was, but I was in a mode at that age where like I loved Bug's Life, and also Ants was like an addendum to that.
Movies can do that, right? Like this movie was a D, but since I was the perfect target audience at the time, I gave it a B. That's what what's the third Star Wars movie with the Return of the Jedi? Maybe.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi. It was supposed to be Revenge of the Jedi. That would have been.
I was the right age to like Ewoks when that thing dropped. So
I was too. I didn't realize all the hatred for Ewoks because I haven't watched those movies since I was like a kid, and I always thought the Ewoks were kind of fun. And I was like, oh man, these things are so cute and they're so fun. I hope they actually help defend the planet. Like I was at the age where like seeing them like bumble around and like trip and AT-AT was like, oh yeah, they're helping with their corded shitty rope.
And why do they have that set up? Like they were all ready for this like resistance situation. I'm not gonna have anything to do with Star Wars anymore. I'm not gonna watch any more of the nonsense.
You're so close on Marvel.
I'm done. Remember when Buzz Aldrin punched that guy out?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was sick. I watched a documentary with that guy recently. That guy's so aggravating. Oh, did you land on the moon? Oh, I know you didn't land on the moon. I can prove it.
You're a coward. You're a liar and a coward. And Buzz Aldrin popped him one.
Deserved, in my opinion.
So good.
That dude's crazy. I saw a documentary with him. He has like dedicated his entire life to following around the astronauts that he says claimed they went to the moon. That dude is like crazy, bro.
Wow.
Really?
That was like that was multiple times that he had like come sideways at that astronaut like that. It was Buzz Aldrin?
I thought Buzz Aldrin popped him the first time he ever met him, but I guess not.
Now
he's taking all he could take.
Now it could be because he knew who he was. I very well could be misinterpreting it. I was under the impression they had come across each other, but he didn't know who he was. That doesn't necessarily mean that he harassed him like that. You're right.
Yeah, what a maniac.
Yeah, he said, I've got documentation to prove it and all this. And I have to admit, up until I met Wendigoon, I really wasn't all that into conspiracies in general. When people start talking about conspiracies, I just kind of tuned it out. It's, not very interesting to me. But man, I did see some stuff that made the moon landing looked really sketchy to me. And I was questioning myself, like, I can't question this. That's crazy people talk, because they were like showing about how the foot sinks in 3 inches, but the space shuttle didn't sink in. And it had me convinced for a minute. And then I just read all the explanations. And
I saw like either Japan or India, I don't remember which, maybe even South Korea, some foreign space agency flew around the moon the other day and like took pictures of the landing site. Would
have been a globally coordinated effort here to try and pretend we went to the moon.
Yeah,
and I saw this documentary and it was so good. And at the end of it, I was like, this is how they get people like this, because I'm going to go look up the answers to these questions instead of insisting there is no answer to them, And they were talking about why a foot seemed like it sunk in, but it didn't look like the shuttle did, et cetera, et cetera. And that we landed there. And I was like, that solves it.
I think we'll go back to the moon at some point soon-ish. I think with our lifetime, we'll go to the moon. They kept my whole lifetime. We've been talking about Mars, and I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. I don't think they're going to do it. I think
they'll any closer. Are we any closer?
Oh, we could do it right now if we wanted.
Or Elon Musk.
It's just of spending the money, like.
And it would be a one-way trip at this point, right? Is what if I understand correctly?
No. Well,
I read an article about that when I was in county jail, which was 10 years ago.
They could make it a one-way trip, and it would be, if they wanted to, it'd be a lot easier.
I don't think they're going to get many volunteers until they lie and say it's a two-way trip.
True.
Well, we're not looking for volunteers to colonize. We're talking about like the first man to or woman to step.
You know, it would actually be like
we're talking about sending like 3 or 4 guys.
Like we could, you know how Australia was just like Britain sending rapists and murderers and thieves.
Yeah.
Let them storm the beach, man. Like ship a bunch of criminals out there
to go first.
See, you're under the impression that there aren't like highly trained experts chomping at the bit to get behind.
No, they're there too, but we're not going to let highly trained experts take needless risks on Mars.
They'll die.
It's going if there's something where it's like, how deep is this pit? Well,
push it in, mate.
You know, the kind of questions you need answers.
You just push them in and tell them to count out loud, and you wait until they stop.
How hot is Mars fire? 3. We don't know.
How hot is Mars fire?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no Mars fire.
There's
no Mars fire.
They is there not? You couldn't light a fire on Mars?
No.
Why not? There's not enough. You need like an oxygen tank.
There's barely an atmosphere at all, much less oxygen.
Okay, well, you need like a Bunsen burner or something, and see what would happen, right? Because then that would be an external fuel. It could start the fire.
I would assume so, unless it uses a lot of oxygen.
Exactly. Have you seen like the way? I think
does.
it was a NASA thing that. Thank God we know this for the billions of dollars. If you light a match in space, the flame just stays around it in a circle. And think of the applications. I'm not even going to get into them. It would take all episode. No, so much of space travel seems to be like, we need this for technology. It's like, what are you coming up with? Dry water? And it's like, water that you can get in.
They've been leaning on Velcro for 30 years now, 50 years. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Velcro and
why have we gone from hating on Elon Musk to the entire space agency?
What has space ever done for me?
Yeah,
so many.
Produce the planet. Hopefully,
do you know what GPS is?
No. Josh, the construction of this planet saved us from the harshness of space.
In space, though, it is still the cradle for Earth.
Look,
yeah.
I live in space personally. I've spent most of my life in space. I'm a big fan of space personally.
No, I'm a terrestrial boy through and through.
We say fuck satellites and all that. I didn't even think about GPS personally. I was like, we really haven't done all that much in space, but GPS is pretty nice. Satellite TV,
huge W GPS
clocks.
No one's taking GPS away from them.
We're not belittling GPS.
Car with me. I couldn't find my house without GPS.
Yeah, I remember Garmin. Do you remember Garmin being a thing you could put in your car in 2002, 2003?
Was that the little GPS thing?
It was the little GPS that had a bag of sand it sat on and it sat on the top of your dash. And that revolutionized, that changed the game for me because I was no longer worried about getting lost all the time. That's been around for 20 years. What have you done for me lately is what I would say to NASA.
We made faster GPS and it's on your phone now. That's about it. Well, at least accessible instantly on your phone. I think that might be about the leap and bound here.
Yeah, but that's double counting GPS.
The fact that I have no answers for you says nothing about the fucking space engine.
I think it says everything. I think everyone listening can draw their conclusions in time.
If a layperson can't explain the benefits of space travel, damn it.
Oh, what are we doing? Spy pictures.
I think, but we don't get any benefit from that. I guess Google Earth is pretty sick, but we get to play that stupid game.
GeoGuessr. Okay. All right. Okay.
GeoGuessr W.
That is 2, but GeoGuessr is just a form of GPS. So it's really trying to triple count the same GPS.
I don't think it requires satellites at all, though. It's just that truck driving around taking pictures, right?
What is one thing?
Probably.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but how would they know where to go?
But the satellite isn't.
Probably just drive.
Well, by that,
nowhere to go.
By that logic, all things are GPS. So just don't do that.
Whoa.
No, I don't like it. I don't think they've done anything useful in the last 20 years. GPS, like all the examples of GPS triple counting. What have they done? Have they made a more a tastier chicken? Like anything like that?
Y'all know a real physicist would be shutting us down.
Tractors are self-drive now. I'm going to quadruple count GPS.
What does it use to self-drive?
There's no telling. I don't know.
Always has been.
Oh, they've done so much more than GPS. Here's 5 things immediately related to global positioning.
They keep making it better.
Yeah.
I think the future of that, like the next big leap, is being able to mine an asteroid and maybe bring it close enough that you have this. You could go fetch an asteroid and bring it into like our orbit or something, and just be up there mining it at close orbit at your leisure and sending whatever the raw materials back.
You think
to
that
Earth?
would like destroy like Earth's economy? Like imagine that we do that and we pull it off, and it's a meteorite or asteroid with
literally the most precious metal.
as much gold as is on Earth or something.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, because I've heard them like talk about asteroids that would be like that. They would be so rich in rare Earth materials, like things that here are very rare, but wouldn't be perhaps in an asteroid.
$1 trillion asteroid, right?
It'd probably it'd become like the De Beers Corporation, where like whatever company owned the gold infinite supply would just release it in such a slow, measured supply that they could artificially inflate the price.
And that's kind of the whole point of The Expanse, right? That you've got those guys out there mining the asteroid belt and sending the raw materials back to Earth and Mars, the inner planets. But they've just built cities on the bigger asteroids, and they're flying around mining them all the time. No, I think that's like the next. If humanity lives for another 100 or 200 years, I think that's our next big thing, is mining asteroids. It has to be.
Probably that before colonization, I would think. Yeah.
It'll drive. It would drive colonization. It would be like a gold rush. It would be like a gold rush for space. The same way the gold rush drove so many people from the east and the west to California.
Imagine this: 0-calorie food.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Like the applications of space travel. If they came up with 0-calorie food,
like a pill you take and it has all the nutrients.
They make 0-calorie food. It just sucks.
Well, the 0-calorie.
Have you heard of celery?
Yeah, not celery. Like steak, 0-calorie steak, 0-calorie shrimp, 0-calorie surf and turf. There's more than just steak and shrimp, but that's what I'm thinking about.
Keep naming foods.
So what's the purpose of 0 calorie?
Shrimp.
What's the purpose of it? Like, so you don't have to.
I think you just want to have a big meal.
It's so you can overindulge and not feel bad about it.
I thought that was.
Oh, so like literally not. I thought this was like you were saying. For us to get deep into space, we're gonna have to make this 0 calorie. But no,
this is just about like. If they could do that, think of the marketing potential. Who would have to be sold on 0-calorie food? No one. Everyone would be eating it.
Good.
So you know how you ever see one of those cows that has the port in its side so that you can see its digestive system?
Yeah.
No, I've seen clear sides on motorcycles, so you can see how they work.
They do this to cows too. So
really,
they cut a hole,
like a vinyl window in a cow.
Almost. They cut a hole in the side. Show us a picture, Zach. Look up cow with port inside. That'll do it. That'll
cow skylight.
But they have this. They got this hole in the side with like a plug, so they can like pop the plug out and reach in and like be like, "This is how the cow's stomach works." You see, I think that what you want.
This is true.
Zach's about to show us. What you want is one of these, Taylor. And you want one of these ports where your belly button is. And every time you have a meal, you just take your shot back and you stick it in the port. And you suck the meal back out of your stomach, and then you go right back to dinner. Okay.
See,
and I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I don't want a port in my belly button, but where they're going to come in 8 different styles. I've got an 8 ball. Okay. Mine looks like an 8 ball, and it's styled, and this is called sixpackforyou.com. I install them.
Can I have like a skull and? Can I have a skull and crossbones on
option 3, yes.
I'll take a heart made out of a domino.
I thought this idea was stupid until I imagined my belly button replaced with one of those ship's wheels with all the prongs out the side. Now then.
And you're going to feel stupid until you're 10,000 calories into a feast, and it's all just being fed into a bucket that you then go donate
eat until your teeth hurt.
What the fuck is with these cows?
Crazy.
That one's leaking out his port.
Yeah, it's
not
greasy.
It's because they put diesel in it.
That's a diesel powered cow.
That cow looks miserable.
That's not miserable. It's got hay.
I'm
Yeah, you're right.
Steve-O, and this is put sugar in your cow's gas tank.
This cow's totally not going to work anymore.
Wait for Farmer John to come out.
so the purpose of this, in my experience, has been for an educational type thing, so that you can show the multi-chambered heart, stomach of a cow and how it ruminates and digests and everything. It was part of school. We looked at a cow, and the guy reached inside of it and got some goo out and showed us the goo, and
it doesn't hurt the cow at all.
Oh no, we all took turns fucking it.
This really does look
no, nothing like that. That looks evil to you?
To be uncomfortable. Like
the cows love it. They love it when you. They like it when you scratch them behind the port.
They like it when you open it up and give their little intestine massage.
Tickle the inside of the udder. It makes their leg kick.
Poor dog.
It's a little sad, I guess. I think that if aliens came down and didn't differentiate between intelligences, they were like, oh, the humans, they're like this tiny amount smarter than the cows, but they keep the cows in that pen, still their babies, and put ports in their stomach. We'd look like some real villains.
See, but like, I don't buy that thing. We're like, what race would be so beyond our intelligence that intelligence and analytic ability would prevent them from discerning between two wildly different populations, i.e. us and cattle?
Maybe
like if they were that smart, they would not go, they are all similar in our eyes. They would be like, well, this is clearly the dominant species on Earth, much smarter than the rest, pretty dumb by our standards, but look how they subjugate the lower creatures.
I think
Do you differentiate between insects? Are you like ants are so much smarter than grasshoppers?
If grasshoppers had societies that had buildings and structures and organized
termite mound.
Ants build houses.
Literally, ants do that. Like ants must think themselves the humans of the insect.
They have a queen.
Like, look at this. We have a queen. We have a social structure. We have
bees do something similar.
We're building structures with these tunnels underneath. Crickets, on the other hand, just jump around like idiots. They're not smart like us ants.
That is true.
Here we are so much smarter than both crickets and ants. Me at least.
You and I did the other day.
Getting this, and we think that crickets and ants are basically similarly stupid.
Right.
But
you guys
the same way that but even just now in this conversation, we revealed that we do put value on the ability of the ant to form structures.
Now you say we, but it was me.
You,
on the other hand, weren't getting it. Therefore, in the hierarchy of people, I'm just saying.
I don't know. It seems like I'm implementing your argument to beat what you were trying to say.
Well, see, the problem here, Taylor, is if the aliens send astronauts like you wanted to, they send those retards, then they're not going to be able to differentiate between anything. They're just going to kill us all. I think that like maybe the aliens.
If you want to take my argument and act like it's yours, then I'll just call you Elon.
Well, like maybe
yes, this is true.
Maybe the aliens that come don't even have bodies. Maybe they're like machine people, like intelligences in a machine. So when they look at like humans and ants, there's not a huge difference because we're all biological.
They wouldn't be living though. They would have been created by something else.
They could have taken their intelligence and injected it into machinery long ago, and now they travel the endless reaches of space with their infinite lives, living in their machine craft.
That's a real sci-fi theory. That's what I assumed he meant, is the continued consciousness in a machine.
Why not?
Would it be their consciousness? Isn't that interesting?
Now that is a different topic.
Like, how would you download it on? It would be like copy and pasting a document. So you would die, and then a mimicry of you would survive.
That's the whole transporter paradox.
Be you.
Yeah, that's the transporter paradox in Star Trek. So when you beam someone to one place to another, it tears you into a million tiny pieces down your atoms, remembers how they were stuck together, and tells the machine somewhere else to build a new you, basically, with the atoms in the same place. And you pop out, and you're like, hey, I made it. But it's not really you. You died back on the fucking Enterprise, jackass.
Yeah, it's just a new you every time, right?
Season 1, Captain Picard, you're dead. And Bones never wanted to get on the thing, and he kept making him. It was mean.
Died over and over again.
Interesting.
I would say that I look at most animals, and this is not correct, but this is like a blanket way of looking at it. I look at pretty much animals as animals. That's not really correct. Some monkeys use kind of tools, and some species of animals. Dolphins seem to have really intricate communication.
Both those species discovered
houses. Oh yeah, and utilize it to the fullest extent, which very few species have successfully pulled off. By the way,
the orangutan.
That can't be true. I think they all know how to rape. You ever see a frog gangbang?
I've seen some dogs where it was definitely not consensual.
The frogs. I was looking today. The frogs like getting this big pod together, this mash, and the females just start spraying eggs everywhere, and the males show up and they just jizz like they jizz. They shoot more cum than I do. and it's this big foamy like eruption of
Good
cum.
for them.
And they're like 5 or 6 of them at a time are just covered in eggs and cum, and they're just doing that ribbit thing all balled up together. It looks like a hell of a time.
So it's like 6 males all hoping that
would
their
you
sperm
Google
cloud.
Zach? Would you Google frog orgy real quick, and you're gonna get a picture of like a bunch of little green tree frogs all balled up together fucking, and there ought to be a lot of foam. I want a lot of foam.
Look up
lots of foam,
extra foam.
Look up gay frog orgy. I want to see if Alex Jones is onto something here.
Actually, I went hardcore and binged frog orgy. You cannot show these images.
Damn,
don't
frog.
Bing it.
Bing, the search engine for degenerates.
Dude, Bing is where the porn is.
Pedophile search engine. Someone was telling me
9 out of 10 pedophiles agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also the search engine of Wings of Redemption. Coincidence?
Ooh, that's
find
gross.
out.
Oh,
that is frothy.
Wait, I've seen that video.
So much heat for that.
Wait, is that the frog? Oh my god!
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
cum. That's cum.
Oh, it's frog.
They're all dumping loads on the big piles of eggs.
And there's like one poor girl under there somewhere, allegedly.
Of course, she's having the time of her life.
She was literally made for this. This is her maximum dopamine, absolute biological. She was built for it, and no other purpose than to be
Which
drowned
one is
in
the
frog
female?
semen.
Yes.
That's what they're asking right now. Which one's the female?
Well,
sorry, Frank.
Again, like I think they're just like shooting eggs out, and then they're like coming all over the eggs. So like, I don't even know why they're hanging around.
Yeah, I knew there's a lot.
What
There has
else?
to be a lock and load tie-in.
I mean, what else do they possibly
Has to
have
be.
to do other than hang out?
If they were taking lock and load. Only one frog could have made that much fun.
All right, we've seen enough frog come. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it.
I don't think
very
there's
much.
any lock and load in this week's rotating GIF.
Oh, there
There's
should
now.
have been, because God damn it, we're
Mm.
selling the
perfect
best
one.
cum pills on the internet, and it's
We
important that
need
people know
log and
about it.
load in there. The finest cum pills money can buy, people. So,
Oh, for what it's worth, I was going to say I think that all animals are basically same degree of intellect, man. That's not
Nah,
technically
they're
true.
not.
They're not.
Some
No,
good
I'm just
people.
saying that I look at it as like we got humans, and then everything else is on that totem pole of they're kind of
Yeah.
conscious or not. That's not true.
That's
if we zoom
racist
in.
or speciesist or something.
Yeah, it's
definitely is.
I'm more into
bad.
Homo sapiens over all other species, man. I think they're the master species.
oh yeah,
Gay.
I'm just going to say that. I'm coming right here on PKA. I think the Homo sapiens is the master species on
Yeah.
planet Earth.
they're the.
but
I'd rather.
It's
interact with
possible an
animals.
alien wouldn't think I'm really worthy of life, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't say I used to hunt when I was younger. You know, I'm a felon now, obviously, but I used to go kill deer. Deer don't build houses, but I stomp on an anthill when I see it. I kind of regard them both
You
as
stomp on them?
I'm alpha.
Like
Not
for
anymore, but when I was younger.
I still do.
Yeah, I'll stomp on an
I
ant.
thought
don't
we were
really
gonna.
see 'em
I thought we
anymore.
were about to connect.
Yeah, I will. I'll connect with you on that one. If I see an anthill, I'm
I
like,
did in Mississippi. Now I'm in New
fuck,
Orleans.
we
The
don't like
answer
your
this
kind
big.
here. If you had the power to instantly know the truth about a mystery, which mystery would you learn about?
The creation of the universe.
That's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a bad power to have because you're gonna know the creation of the universe and it's gonna hurt.
I want to know the creation of the universe. I want to know if there's an intelligent design or simulation theory, whatever the fuck. I want to know if it's just chemistry that repeats and for infinity, and this is like this is the trillionth iteration of the same universe that just
You don't want
expands
these
until it
answers,
can't,
bro.
rubber band.
You don't want these
explodes
answers.
again and just keeps doing that.
That
forever.
probably is
want
objectively
the
the best mystery to solve, because like just saying
JFK.
that one, you get to know if God's real. Because I assume
Well,
in that one, like Kyle says, I want to know the mystery of the universe, and they go, it was God, and it was the Christian God,
not-
or it was the Muslim God.
It's
or it
not
was-
going to be like that though. It's the concept would be so beyond us. It would be like if my dog all of a sudden was aware and understood that he has pictures of himself on the internet.
There's yes or no.
How
question.
could I
But
explain
there are
to
yes
my
or-
dog
no,
the
I don't need an
internet
explanation.
and like we're not gonna, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna. It's gonna the terms of the language.
Stupid
For
dog.
you to
My dog
under-
already knows that.
The
No,
terms
yes or
of the
no.
language are beyond our.
Has
our
the universe
brains.
always
Our
existed? Yes or
brain,
no? You know,
we can't even.
But,
we
like,
can't even see the colors.
Yeah.
Like we can't even see all the colors and hear all the sounds.
Okay,
You
well,
want-
let's leave
you
that
want
one
the
behind. I'm sorry I
answer.
messed the question up. Let me give a better
I
answer.
like your answer.
No,
Kyle.
I
I
thought
know
that
they're all
was good.
hating on you.
I have a better one.
I'm not
I
hating.
have a
I'm just.
better
I
one.
think it's a great. I think it's a
Yeah,
great
I'll have a
question.
better- I have a
You'd
better
have
one.
to.
I have a better
If he's
question.
hating, I'm hating too.
I have a better
Wants to say
question.
his other
Stupid ass
one.
answer,
Because
idiot.
But I
Because
like the
today-
conversation of it. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What's your other one,
Because
Kyle?
today is the anniversary of JFK's assassination. Of course, it's so I would go back and get that one. It's yeah.
would be really fucked up is that if
drop off the
would be
creation of the universe.
it is, but would be really fucked up if the person that is giving you the answer genie is like, I can't tell you that either. It's kind of connected to the universe answer.
They're like the same. It's the same as the first question. The same guy that created the universe killed JFK. It was God that did it. Lee Harvey Oswald was the true son of our Lord Almighty. He came here to give JFK's life for our sins.
And I like how you're like, you wanted to know, you're like, which God's right? Is Jesus right?
Yeah, I'd want to know.
Imagine
who's closest?
And he leans in close and says, Joseph Smith.
I would be on the way. I'd be packing up a U-Haul, moving to Utah, ready to pay penance to the one true church if that was true.
Yeah, but if they were like, nah, Jewish God's right, you'd be like, kill them all.
No, I'd be like, hook me up. I'm gonna get skin graft surgery back on my penis so they can cut it off again
properly this time.
I'm gonna double dip my Judaism. Yeah, it'd be tough because I'd show up in Israel and they'd be like, I don't think you're Jewish, and I'd be like, and I'd have to say something about, oh my God, the prices at this airport, and then they'd be like, okay. They'd be like, do something athletic, and then I'd like miss a soccer ball. They'd be like, okay, all right, this guy's in the mix. Like, tell us about your stock portfolio. And I'd be like, fuck, they're gonna know. I don't know anything about that.
Be funny. You do impressions. They're like, all right, let him in.
All right. Oh, you like Seinfeld? You like Curb? All right, you're in the mix. You're in the mix, brother. Yeah, I would be very interested to know. I'd be depressed if it was like, no, there is no God. There's nothing. You're just a meaningless nothing. That'd be so depressing.
Or what if they said, what if they said there is a God, but you're just like an extra thing that grew? His people are the Neptunians. They live 8 galaxies to the left of you. He created the whole universe for them, and you happened as a result of his magic over there.
That's pretty.
He doesn't know you're there.
He doesn't even know where. Okay, well then that's that's just as bad.
And if he found out, he might be like, ew. What? Ew. And
I have a feeling. I think you're right about that, because I think humans are so fucked that like if me too, and that's what I'm talking about. That's how we're fucked. Is that if we found out that God has children and we're the accident, well, we're about to bring freedom to his real children, and we're about to free ourselves from him. Fucking fuel up the fighter jets. We're storming planet Neptunian.
Oh yeah, dude,
we're gonna burn them to the fucking ground. Let's show them how humans. Did you see Avatar? Baby.
That's kind of like what happened with like Lucifer and the fallen angels, right? Is they were jealous of humanity because we were, the main project that God's working on, and they were like, Lucifer's like, what the fuck? Why are you so obsessed with these disgusting, stupid, low animals? Look at me, I'm Lucifer, I'm hot shit. And
we'd be like, look at the Neptunians, they're fucking green skin. It's disgusting.
They're short.
They're fucking green skins and 4 nipples. Let's go fucking kill them all now.
If that was the case, and we found out that God's real and that he has a favored species of people on the moon, and they live under the crust or something, and like that's why we can't see them, we'd have to go shut that down.
We turn that shit into an Uncrustable real fast.
Oh yeah, that'd be an Uncrustable real fast.
I don't know why you want to like upset God by like going against his people.
We'd have to show how we're worthwhile. We'd be like, God, give us some attention. This is like the movie I'm writing in my head.
Love us back. Love us back.
God's gonna come get us. I like the idea of like an advanced alien race, but they evolved from ants. And on their planet, because their planet's just one anthill at this point, because like one anthill killed all the others, and so there's just one queen, and so they've been like that for so long that they don't have any concept of like war or fighting anything, or it's lost upon them because they've been masters of their planet for so long, since before they were intelligent, and so they show up here with all their advanced technology, and we just fuck them up because we're war monkeys. We're war monkeys who have been training for millions of years to be the best war monkey we can be, and we just dominate them and take their cool technology away and lie to them and swindle them the way we did the Redskins. You know, we can get them drunk on our. We give them like the thing is like they're ants, so they love sweets. And we've got so much fucking corn syrup. We're just pumping it up. America's getting all the ant money, all the ant tech. China's mad as fuck. They've just got rice. Ants don't want rice. They can't eat it. It expands their tummies.
I remember you saying that we'd fuck them up. I remember getting the Halo 2 limited edition of Halo 2, and it came with the manual, but they didn't reveal that you play as the Covenant also in Halo 2. So when you get the limited edition of the game, the regular manual, which is like written as if you're a human and explaining to you all the things in the game, the Halo 2 limited edition is written as if you're a Covenant. So it's kind of like downplaying all the elements that are human and upplaying all the alien parts reverse to the humans, where the humans will be like, oh God, the elites, they're fucking so crazy. They'll just stomp all of us up, make sure you focus fire on. Whereas like in the alien book, it'll be like the Sangali, the most prosperous and advanced warrior or whatever. But the whole point of it being that they're looking at all the human guns and they're like, bullshit gun, trash gun, this is stupid, what a fucking old school. And then they get to the shotgun and they're like, hold up. Even though it's the oldest style of shooting a gun that we've stopped using like thousands of years ago, do not go near this fucking thing. It will fuck you up. And like when I saw that, I kind of always thought that, like, you know what? Like if aliens came here and they were gonna go and like do whatever it is like to do like to fuck us up, I just think like humans have proven we're so crazy with ourselves, and what we'll do that with aliens, like we would. I don't think they're ready. Like
I'll tell you
like,
what it would be like.
God forbid we find out that they have a vagina and they taste good. We will fuck them and eat them.
If their blood makes us live longer, I will drink it from their babies' throats. Okay, I will.
If their blood powers my car, we'll invade the whole planet.
Dude, if they have a nice color, we're wearing them as jackets now.
If their blood is
they've
like
never seen shit like that.
If their blood is like a low quality sugar alternative that's like better marginally than sucralose, we'd kill them. Like
if it tastes anything like this, we will fuck them and eat them and wear them.
A bunch of crazy rednecks looking for a jacket.
It is like, but that's, I feel like aliens.
You're genociding all these alien babies, and it's like, yeah, but look at Pepsi Zero's reached new heights.
Other planets with life on their planets, I promise you, they're not wearing the skin of other things on that planet. I think that's some human shit.
That could be par for the course, though.
In Invincible, I don't think I've seen the newest episode, but the episode before last, he goes under the water and he fights like some kind of a sea monster. And there's a part where the sea monster uses some sort of sound weapon against Invincible, and it affects him. It like fucks him up a little, and immediately the scientists are like, "Hey, this thing right here. Do you see that? Do you see that? Fucking get the tech guys on that. Figure out what." And it's their boy. Invincible's their boy, and still they're like, "Hey, that fucked him up. Go look into that. We need a gun that shoots whatever that is." That's how we would be if aliens got here, and we would learn so fast like if they were plant people, we would have some Roundup missiles. Monsanto would be loading the silos like immediately. I feel like we figure it out because we're awful. I like to imagine that if there is life elsewhere, it's not as awful as we are, because we are awful.
If they came here and they were like pig people, like we could make pork with their bodies, we're like, it's on.
We'd eat them.
Like we will fucking eat them.
What if they taste good raw? They're gonna hate this warfare.
Oh,
dude,
that's what I'm saying.
There'd be
I
human
think we would eat
propaganda
people
everywhere, where it's like, do your part, eat the invaders. Like that.
The strawberry men land. Oh, I got a can of whipped cream in one hand and a Glock in the other.
Yeah, the strawberry people invade, and it's like, oh, these suck. These aren't even that good.
The grape invasion. The grape invasion on their trail mix ships. You're like, stand back, boys. I got this.
Isn't there a movie where like tomatoes invade?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. There are sequels. I loved it as a kid.
But what if it wasn't even? What if it was like a Burger King tomato? So they're like flavorless trash, not even like a nice aroma.
Well, you better bring a lot of Wonder Bread, mayonnaise, and black pepper.
Yeah, you need some salt. You need to spice that up a little bit.
I have I made a 4-part list for the question I asked. If you had the power to know mystery.
Yes.
little recency bias in it, but here we go. I'd like to know Epstein's client list.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I think that would upturn the world if that got out. It'd be like, this many of them are fucking on
I'd
the
like
island?
to know the motivation of the Las Vegas shooter, right? Like that thing, they just sort of shrugged their shoulders and said, huh, well.
It would be so crazy if he'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll tell you, but you only have one question. I'm surprised you didn't want to know if your wife was cheating on you or not. But anyways, here you go. And you're like, wait, what?
He definitely is. Let's stick with mysteries. I didn't think you were the no shit genie. One question. That's it.
all right. I want to know the truth of the Fermi paradox, right? Why has there been no evidence? Why did net as we've cast?
Wait, the what?
Life,
What's
the
Fermi paradox? Why we haven't found life?
Explain
Statistically, we should have found some sign of them. We should be seeing Dyson spheres. We should be seeing stars that are being asteroid fields that are being dismantled and turned into material. We should see planets being dismantled, because if there are these advanced races that are so far ahead, they are inevitably going to mine their own. It's the next steps in technological leaps, and we're not seeing any of that. No radio signal, no ships, no warp drive, no blinky stars.
Earth is pretty noisy, right? If you shine a telescope on it, you can see our lights blinking on and off. We've been sending radio waves out into space for like 100 years now, but we don't have any evidence. Maybe more, I don't know. But we don't have any evidence that there's any other noisy planets. As far as we know, we're the only. Hold on. There's a lot going. I got a lot more, Harley.
Yeah.
As far as we know, we're the only intelligent life out there. So the Fermi paradox asks why. Either we're just first, right? That there's intelligent life behind us, but for some reason, our planet, out of all of them, is the first to have ever gotten advanced ever. Seems statistically unlikely. Yeah. So there must be some wall that perhaps we haven't hit yet that stops us, that makes it so that if you get as far as we are to a noisy planet, you start dying. Maybe everybody goes to catastrophic war. A filter. Thank you. That there's some sort of filter that prevents societies from getting as advanced as we're about.
Getting advanced enough to do the things I'm describing. Because and the question is, are we just the first? Are we the last? Because we're late.
Or are
in the
we
universe's
the only?
Life. Are we the only that there ever have been, ever will be? Is it just that there's no intelligent life, or just any intelligent life? Maybe there's like monkeys somewhere. Maybe there's bacteria somewhere, or fungus. But
statistically, most likely, there's a whole bunch of planets who've achieved this already, and they're just graveyards of them.
Statistically, there should be a bunch of us's out there. There should be a bunch of like Star Trek: The Next Generations and Star Wars type shit going on with
unless there's a filter that
Prime
stops
directive,
people getting from here to there. And if there is a filter, that's the graveyard I'm talking about.
Third body problem introduces a really good filter. The idea that there's this overlord race that's
what I was going to say at first. The three body problem has a whole concept of society is why we wouldn't be able to, or how different they are. You guys know that Netflix show's coming out, eh?
Yeah.
It's some bumps in the road, I've heard, but
hopefully the writer's strike couldn't have helped.
Yeah, I don't think we know nearly enough about space to know what's going on out there. I think we're probably little babies who think we know a lot more than we do, and we don't.
I don't know. We're doing some cool shit. Like we always talk about the cool shit not happening, but them landing those
moon.
They've been They're going. They say they are. If you look at like they're saying they're going in the next 10 years.
Oh, they're coming.
Kyle or Taylor, they promised me no sooner than 2027.
No sooner. That's
they did say that. Yeah.
No sooner than 2025.
They've been landing on comets, though. They've been landing these spacecraft on comets and meteorites and like taking
China
samples.
Has, right? Am I crazy?
We did as well.
Okay.
We did as well. Okay. We landed on a comet, and we did the one that like landed. You got to keep in mind, we're moving. The thing we sent is moving. The Earth, I mean, is moving. The thing we sent out there is moving, and the comet is moving. But we did the math well enough that it intersects it, doesn't exactly land. It sort of like touches down briefly enough to scoop up a bunch of it, and then poof, pops back off, and then comes back and lands not just on Earth, but over there in Oklahoma where we want it to land, out here in this field. And then they go out there and they've got a canister full of comet like rocks and pebbles, and they're like testing them at the CDC. They sent them, samples everywhere for various scientists to take looks at them. It flew back.
Like with
a spacecraft, they sent a tiny spacecraft out to land on this thing, grab some shit, take off, and fly back to Earth.
Do we need some of this fuel on Earth?
Kyle
I think
told
it's a
the
small
story
craft.
great. I followed it. I was riveted. But somewhere along the story, I was hoping he would slip in. Maybe I'm a little high. People are saying that. That it is easier to teach miners to be astronauts than astronauts to be miners.
You can't teach an astronaut to drill. That's in your blood, boy. All right? Now, have Steve Buscemi's pedophile ass come in here and show you how to load a nuclear weapon.
Yes.
That movie is
It's
so upsetting to watch as a grown man. As a kid, you're like, ye fucking haw. Bruce Willis is laying people out. That big black dude, Michael Clark Duncan Hall or whatever his name was.
Rest in peace.
He's like flexing with his bikini bottoms, like making fun of cholesterol. Didn't he die of a stroke?
No, I didn't know that.
Dude, I can make a million theories about something that will never happen within the window of human existence.
Yeah, make one.
Yeah, actually, the black holes are gaining energy, Mr. Hawking, and it's called Taylor radiation.
When is it you've hit the peak of your bell curve? Or maybe maybe you even do want to enjoy the downslide a little bit, but not all of it. Not the tail end.
It depends, like I think everybody's got a different bell curve. Some people peak, toward the end. I would argue that like William Shatner's like 90 or how old is he? Like 99 or something stupid. Like he went to space last year.
I'll find out.
That's got to be pretty cool. Well, that's because that billionaire sprayed alcohol on him, and all he could ponder was his dead wife who was killed by a drunk driver and the infiniteness of space and how alone we are.
He's 92.
I think it was the infinite abyss of space where he's like,
couldn't
oh
help.
my God, I'm so close to the end. Like going to space at 99, bad
92.
move. 92.
Well, he's 92 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he say about space? That it was depressing? That it was just boring?
Something about
there's
emptiness.
boring. It's empty. There's nothing out here. There's nothing for us. It's just this world. That's it. Like that was kind of his takeaway.
It feels like he's right, doesn't it?
He's right.
Of course he's right.
All the other planets suck. They're really just dog. If our solar system was a neighborhood, we're in the one nice house. The rest of it's trash.
The idea that we should take Mars and like colonize it as a backup planet in case we ruin this one. There is no universe in which Mars is a better starting point than Earth for humans.
Yeah,
for fixing things. Like I do like the idea, however, of like being somewhere else, even if it is shitty. It's a storm shelter of a planet. Like maybe the Earth gets hit and like fucked up for a generation or two, but there's enough people underground living in some shit city on Mars that the Earth they're looking at satellite readings. The Earth seems to have stabilized. The oceans have receded. Let's fly back or something. Like maybe that. But Venus seems better for that. Whenever I hear them talk about Venus, they say
is terrible.
No. So up in the if you're on the ground, it's like 900 degrees. It melts lead down there. But up high in the atmosphere, there's a layer in the atmosphere that you could kind of open the window and you wouldn't die instantly. There's like a level of atmosphere.
I'm sold.
You're really selling
this is his example of the best we've got.
There's a whole
if you're 30,000 feet up, you can briefly open a window and not immediately asphyxiate.
Hear me out. Well, I mean, Mars is worse.
I mean, you'll want to flush out all the sulfur and like I don't know.
No, you get out of the sulfur layer.
No, but Woody, you don't understand. Once we've excavated Mars and Venus in a way that far outpaces even what we've done on our own planet for our entire existence, it'll be smooth sailing, nice.
There's no terraforming. There's
what are we going to do? Live in tents?
You would live in airships on Venus is what the plan would be.
Well, then why not just live on a ship that's floating around the Earth?
Because you want to go to another planet and explore it, Taylor. Like you're the guy who stays home when Christopher Columbus takes off. Why don't you just stay here?
No,
where you going?
The existence of islands and shit, they knew they would find something neat.
What kind of fucking Italian are you?
Not one.
I wouldn't want to go to Venus or fucking Mars. Like maybe if it was like For All Mankind, that seems like a pretty decent Mars to go check out. They've got like porn and pussy and alcohol and rovers and shit. Like, it seems like a good time.
They have
I
all
mean, you're
those
living
things.
it seems better than being an American nuclear submariner to me. Like, you've
They're
got
glamping,
quarters.
basically. They're basically living as rough as somebody with a toe behind RV would live.
Mm-hmm.
With high stakes, shitty living. You can't just pull over at a Buc-ee's. Like, you die.
Well, I mean, sure.
Yes.
Go wrong. But all right. I get your point. But
what do you think, Chris? Are there any good planets, or do we need to take care of this one we're on, right?
Some would say. Yeah, honestly, just keep moving inward. Just like Ben Shapiro said, you just sell your house if you live down on the coast, and everything will be fine.
Yes.
You just move up to Iowa.
To who? A fishery? Like, who's gonna buy my house that's gonna be under 8 meters of water?
I know, right? Like, yeah, honestly, that's why I like living in the Midwest, because I feel like I'm safe for now. Until the atmosphere catches on fire or whatever is going to happen when we are living on other planets. But yeah, that's what my plan is, to just stay put for now.
I think that's smart. And since we're Midwest boys, like, we've got like a century lead time, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like, if New York starts going underwater, we got forever. That's their problem.
Dude, they were
by you.
Until we're like Shatner age, at least.
I don't know what the elevation is. I know I saw this graph of sea level, and we get fucked up by the Mississippi way faster than you would think. Like, I guess that big river getting out of control creates a lot of basins, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to suddenly be in some weird archipelago water world.
Taylor, you're at 466 feet. Like, I'm at 290. Like, just because you're inland a lot doesn't mean you're right.
I don't know. I see that map. There's a lot of land. And that's how it works. No, you're right. Like, when I started doing that graph, I'm like, yeah, we're safe. And it's like,
I'm 1,000 feet.
You're higher than
Northern Illinois at.
I'm higher than either of you. It's 1,000 feet here in Atlanta.
And you're in Illinois. Okay, so Chris, you're going to get fucked up by the Mississippi too, or the Great Lakes. I don't know how that would work.
Apparently, Stephen Hawking's dick got hard and worked.
That dog.
That
investigative journalism at its
monster. Yes, that monster. He was using his crippled penis on all those poor victims.
Yeah, I guess he probably needed a guy to help him get laid.
I mean, he just.
Really? You think he's got the Riz? He types into his fucking ColecoVision. Yeah, baby, you look stunning.
Dude, every woman wants to fuck a light bright, and that's exactly what he is.
Poor guy.
You just make him festive. Yeah.
If we get a great mind like Stephen Hawking, isn't it worth it?
Was he even smart? What was he up to? What was he really figuring out? I bet there were real science. I bet he was a Steve Jobs. I bet there were real scientists behind the scenes.
Radiation escaped from black holes and
Hawking radiation. They named it after the man.
Yeah,
because
and that
he's
means that black holes
guy.
will eventually shrink and just like dissipate. Instead of just collecting,
they're losing energy. Yeah,
they're losing energy and giving it back out, and they'll eventually go away.
Dude, I can make a million theories about something that will never happen within the window of human existence.
Yeah, make one.
Yeah, actually, the black holes are gaining energy, Mr. Hawking, and it's called Taylor radiation. You dumb head retard, you fucking legless dumbass. Oh, and you can't test it because it's a billion jillion miles away, and it's dark matter.
You think you're so smart? Well, let's arm wrestle. See who's right.
You think you're so smart? I'll beat the shit out of you. I would have held him in the surf.
Rip your shirt off.
I would have held his limp body in the surf at St. James Island and bullied him. And I would have been like, hey, where are the real scientists, you fucking Steve Jobs piece of shit? You didn't come up with anything.
Poor Mr.
Is that right,
Hawking.
Stephen Hawking? The good news is you're here at St. James Island. You're about to get fucked. The bad news is it's Taylor.
What if he was part of the offering there? Right? It was like some rich sheik, and they're like, we have all these underage kids for you, and at your request, a crippled man from Manchester born in the 30s.
You think she's soft? Where do you meet Stephen Hawking?
Wait till you meet Stephen Hawking.
No muscle mass at all.
Dude, he's the veal of partners. he's got no muscle mass. Soft as
47-year-old veal.
Yeah, covered in bed sores on his bony ass. You fuck Stephen Hawking. That guy sucks.
Hot take.
He's dead.
I'm glad.
Yeah. You're right. That guy sucked.
He did suck. You're not making any points, Kyle.
I like Stephen Hawking. He was in an episode of Star Trek. It was pretty fun.
Really?
He always had a sense of humor. Yeah, there's like Data goes into the holodeck and he's like, give me I want to talk to Einstein, Stephen Hawking, and I don't know, Socrates or somebody, Da Vinci, whatever. And they just bring Stephen Hawking in instead of getting an actor.
Was it Next Gen?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. That's like saying I like Johnny Depp. He was in Walking Dead.
I think they play poker. That's what it is. He's playing poker with Einstein, and Hawking has this little robo hand holding his cards up for him or whatever, and he's cracking jokes, of course, because apparently
Johnny Depp was in Walking Dead. He played a decapitated head for just a few seconds.
Oh, that's neat. I had one of my girlfriend's friends was in. It was actually in the episode where Merle dies, if you remember back then.
Well, I don't remember exactly how it went down, but sure, I remember that.
Yeah, it was during.
He died heroically in an outpost of some sort. Yeah,
he I think the governor was about to kill all of our main characters, and maybe Merle shows up and was like, "No, you won't," or whatever, and died trying. But she's in that scene because she's. Some girls have big eyes. She had some big eyes. She's just got these peepers. And when they put those contacts in there, there's like a muddy brownish yellow. And she goes, ah. It was like, fuck, you're a really good zombie. This is great. I think
that's cool.
They were hanging out at Norman Reedus's bar, because Daryl has a bar down there where they filmed the stuff. And I think that they met the casting director or somebody like that. And he was like, your eyes, madam. And ended up getting on the show. It was cool.
I used to work with a woman who had really big eyes, just extraordinarily large. You could practically see the backside of them. And she told me that when she was a baby, they were all talking about how adorable she was because she had these big eyes. And I didn't say anything, but in my heart, I was like, they're not attractive at all. Why even bringing attention to those eyeballs? It's weird.
You feel like you're a head injury away from that thing popping out like a fucking dog. You ever see those little dogs? Its heads are head to eyeball ratio was off. It's like
bug-eyed. Was she bug-eyed?
Yeah, she was bug-eyed and just it was like her eyebrow. Is this part of your body called like a crown or something?
Brow.
It was too high. Brow, okay. And her, help me again, cheeks, upper cheeks were too low. It was just this huge pocket for her bug eyes that were too far forward. And it's just a lot.
There's this, I don't know what you call it, syndrome, disease, whatever, that causes your eyes to bulge. Not get bigger, I don't think, but maybe. But they bulge. To Barbara's, there's an actress. She's that curly headed, is it Barbara Streisand?
Very old.
There's an actress who has it. She's in that movie with the baseball movie where they're fucking the old catcher and everything. Anyway, I think it's Barbara Streisand. But I had a makeup artist who had the same thing, and he was explaining to me that, yep, no cure. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bulging more and more. And his eyes were coming at you already. I was like, man,
that sucks.
Gonna pop. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
Always looks like someone locked you in the depressurizing chamber in space. You're about to. There was a lunch lady who was bug-eyed at my middle school, and it kind of spooked me. I do remember that. Yeah.
They always get space depressurization wrong. I'm pretty sure we exist at 1 psi or something.
No,
and then. Go ahead. Do you know this better than me? I feel like if I opened the door to a spacecraft, no one would get sucked out.
We will not get sucked out. It will absolutely do exactly what. Oh, now I don't know about a door. That's going to be a whoosh, but like the same way in an airliner. But if there's a pinhole, then you just stick your thumb over it. Like in Alien Resurrection, there's a part where they kill the alien by making a hole in the glass window with some acid, and it sucks the alien, spaghettifies it through that hole until it's disemboweled and sucked. Nothing like that. You stick your thumb right over it, it's like a piece of gum, whatever. Because we're at I think 1 atmosphere is, I'm gonna get this wrong, 12 or 13 psi or something like that. It's a really fun experiment. You can take an aluminum can, put a little bit of liquid in it, grab it with some tongs, put it over your burner, get it boiling in there, so it's creating steam that's traveling up through it, and then upend it very quickly into a basin of water, so that the top is submerged. And you've created a vacuum inside of there because that steam was present. But now that it's cooled down, the steam's gone and a vacuum is inside there. So just the atmospheric pressure that we exist in here that's pressing on us all the time that we don't notice, crushes the fuck out.
I believe you, but I would not qualify that as a very fun experiment.
You can do it to a 55-gallon drum though, and the whole drum goes.
That's pretty
They
neat.
tried that on
Really
Mythbusters, and it
Yeah.
didn't like they had to like do a lot of extra work to get it to
They
the
busted it?
tanker to crumple. It was I think it was a I don't know if it was like a Breaking Bad one that they did, but they were trying to like get a tanker to collapse on itself to like wherever the submarine like the implode.
Mhm.
And they had to do
that's
a lot of extra work. They had to get like a really weak tanker because they just kept trying to like with steam pressurize this tanker to the point where it would just crumple on itself, and they had to do a whole bunch of extra stuff to get it to do it. But
Yeah. You can do it with barrels. You can do it with cans. I think it is.
You know what? I have a neat experiment. Taylor might not call it very fun, but hear me out on this. You have a campfire and you have a bottle of water, right? This is a plastic bottle like you get at every gas station. If you put this bottle of water in the campfire, it won't melt. It doesn't burn. You would think it would. The water will boil, and the part that doesn't have water in it will go away. So it'll become like a cup. But as the water evaporates, the bottle drains. But the water only gets to 212 degrees. That's it. So it keeps the plastic cool enough that it doesn't like melt and spill out the bottom.
Ah, okay.
I've done it many times.
Now, Kyle, that's what you call real.
Yeah, Kyle, get on my level.
Okay, I was just crushing barrels with the power of the gravity that's sucking air down onto
good
it.
noob.
Chris, hit us with a real fun experiment.
What experiment do you do, Chris?
you came to the right guy.
Something about ghosts.
I used to light Q-tips on fire in my basement with petroleum jelly.
400 in a row, flammable. You know, we're learning.
And it just keeps on going. Everyone.
These Q-tip guys
Still just as beautiful and entrancing as ever.
It was
My
either that or it was
dermatologist
like
fucking
lighting
loves
axe cans on
Vaseline.
fire in a ditch.
Yeah,
Every problem I bring to her, she solves with Vaseline. I'm like, not even like Neospore. This feels like 1930s technology.
Yeah.
She's like, it's never been beaten.
Little Windex, Vaseline, spigot span, you're good to go. That's how you.
Wait, Windex and Vaseline? What are we doing?
Remember what was that fucking movie? I can't believe I remember this. My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Okay.
That was the movie where the Greek old lady was like, what do you do for like a cough? Windex. What do you do for, a rash? Windex. No
I
matter what,
remember that.
little Windex on you, you're good to go.
Yes, it's vinegar.
In some
Vinegar
places,
water?
it's butter. They put butter on everything. I don't know what culture that is, but it's a
France.
It's the South. France?
Sounds southern.
Yeah, we were a Vaseline family, not a Windex family.
What would you use
My
the
mom
Vaseline
was, yeah.
for?
My mom used it for taking makeup off. And so we just had a giant tub of it in the bathroom. And then I, of course, would use it for science.
Yeah.
Lighting Q-tips on fire.
Oh, I thought
that's about it.
I thought you meant jacking off.
You can't masturbate with Vaseline. Oh my
You can
god!
try.
What a
Dude,
slow.
When you're 12, you're just
jerk.
when you're 12, you're just trying stuff, man.
You built
Grasping
some
for
muscles
straws when you're
jerking with
12. You're like-
Vaseline. That's too viscous. I enjoy those a lot. That and the ancient civilization YouTubers, the ones who think that the Earth was. We had ancient civilizations that were advanced. Like one of the
Dude,
cool.
what about the Atlantis one where it's like the Ring City? Have you seen that one?
Oh, that sounds cool. No, I haven't seen Ring City.
You don't like
What
that
is it?
one?
Here's why I like the Younger Dryas thing and with the Sphinx in particular. So they looked at where when the sun lines up with the constellation of Leo was 11,600 years ago, which is when they think the Sphinx was built, like the crackpot scientists think anyway. So they think it was built by a civilization before the Egyptians, and they're like, why would they build a lion? Like during the Egyptian times, it was the bull. It was Taurus was the one in lined up with the path of the sun. But if you go back to when they think that comet struck and caused the Younger Dryas disaster and all that shit, it was Leo. So I thought that was a little interesting tidbit. I don't know. I like that stuff a lot. I spend a lot of time every morning. I come in here and I drink my coffee and I spend an hour at least watching YouTube shorts.
What's the most convincing one of those stories about either the Ring, the Atlantis thing, or Göbekli Tepe or whatever that's called, that's actually sucked you in and you've been like, I buy this?
There are some tool marks on the place where they mined the granite for the pyramids, or it's a good distance away, like 100 miles or something away. But there are these tool marks that are kind of weird. You know, it's just like, how do they do that? How were they cutting that out like that? It looks like they've been machined. So that one always sticks out to me more than the crackpot shit. Like, as much as I like Randall Carlson, I've heard him be like, their technology could have been something completely different than ours. They speak of the priests chanting. So I think maybe an acoustic energy was used to levitate these blocks. And it's like, no, dude.
Yes.
There's a reason why like every group of people came up with bow and arrows dependently. It's that tech makes sense. Like you know what I mean? You're not going to just branch off into magic acoustics instead of electricity or steam power or some shit. So that part's nonsensical to me. And anything ancient aliens is bullshit.
What about Atlantis? Is the story that it's like it's a city that used to be not underwater, now it's all sunk?
That's the one I was talking about, where a guy like using satellite, whatever. I mean, Google satellites. He found this area. Yeah, is that the one? You used a name that I hadn't heard of. Is that the guy?
Topography. Yeah.
No, the topography I'd heard of. The guy who found like the ring area of Atlantis. I don't know. It was a cool video.
Dr. Indiana Jones.
That's low-key insult dick all night long.
Yeah. So according to the old tales or whatever, like it was a ringed city. So you had these rings and of land and then water, repeating for like, I don't know, 3 rings of land or whatever. And I think they found a formation that's like that under the water somewhere. But like, you're gonna have to go down there and find some like, I don't know, some marble statues.
Yeah,
or
something
some
neat.
Yeah, I need.
But
to
it's
see some
totally
whoozy
believable
butts
that there's like a city that is now underwater that used to not be.
They
It was
find
in
cities
northern
all the time.
Africa. It's on above. I don't know why I'm getting into this stupid.
No, it's in the Mediterranean or something.
Yeah, near the Mediterranean. That's where it should be, or some. I've heard people say in the Atlantic as well. Yeah, that's the idea. I don't know what that is on the left though. That seems like.
That's the Sarlacc pit.
Yes, it is. Oh my God! Can you believe Boba Fett made it out of there? What horse shit! What horse
That
shit!
is-
By the way, I'll tell you what. I'm not sure if I can beat up Amanda Nunez. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I know for goddamn sure I can beat up Boba Fett. I could beat the dog shit out of Boba Fett. The actor who plays him, put him in his armor. I don't give a fuck.
Wait, isn't that Pedro
give him
Pascal?
a blaster. Don't give him a blaster. I don't know. But that's why I chose Outer Space Aliens for my minority to be
small.
beaten at the end.
Yeah,
I really like the idea of like a coalition of like many colors, like literally like hate criming the outer space alien. And he was a good guy the whole time. He's there to like cure cancer and stuff.
No,
it's like
he
it's more of a
actually
Twilight
was
Zone
stealing.
episode, right? He's what?
He actually
that's
was
the thing.
stealing.
No, or what if, or they kill the alien not because he's an alien, because he's gay. Like that's the twist at the end. Like, all right, so Neptune, huh? And he's like, yeah, me and my husband, we just landed. And they're like, what'd you say, faggot? And they just kill the alien who brought the cure for cancer. I like that bit as well.
Yeah, again, astute social
That is
commentary.
Twilight
We'll
Zone
leave that
episode,
thinking.
by the way. So there's a Twilight Zone episode, and instead of all that nonsense I said, it's they think it's a Russian spy because it's during the Cold War. There's a stranger in town. Oh, someone said they saw this and that. Oh, I heard he was 10 foot tall, and all this talk gets bigger and bigger, and they're so suspicious of this guy who's a stranger in town. He's literally an outer space alien, and at the end they shoot him dead, and he's like, because he like pulled out a scroll, and it's like a space scroll. I don't know how else to describe it.
Space
Like
scroll.
Yeah, but like it's burning, and they like stomp it out, and they look, and it's like, the cure to all human disease is, and it's all burn up essentially.
Faith.
Like,
yeah.
it was like
You know that's how we'd get fucking hoodwinked. They wouldn't come with a cure. They would come with a new religion. They would come
What
with
if
a
that
new
happened?
religion.
Oh, that's my favorite sci-fi. That's the sci-fi that I want written. I want the aliens to show up and ask if we've accepted Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior.
Dude, if that happens, I'm in. I'm in church the next day. Like,
how
I'm apologizing for everything on this show. Like, yeah,
that would
because
be
Jesus is totally real. If aliens come here and say you guys are right with Christ, right? Like,
why would that make Jesus more real?
Because they would confirm it. It'd be like if they're over there,
that would be so scary if they showed up and they're like they got crucifixes on and stuff. Like they're dressed like the Pope. Like we always make fun of how the Pope's like a weird gay wizard, but they show up dressed just like him, like all of them. They're dressed like cardinals and like the all the robes and green and emerald.
Yeah, they would
and
be
ruby.
scamming us. Like, yeah, hey, here we go. Let's just dress up like these assholes. And then you guys be like, yep, well, God's real. God damn it, they're just fucking doing this on purpose.
No, and I'd be like, Dick, do you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ? And then
That would be the
I'd
thing, right?
upset people by
There's
doing that.
there's another episode of Star Trek that's essentially that. This alien goes to a planet and she finds out that their religion says that the devil's essentially going to come back at some point and like take over again. And so she just dresses up like the devil of their planet and shows up with a lot of technology. And she's like, all right, I own you now, or I'll destroy the world. It's up to you. And they're like giving in to her. I like that too. Yeah, the aliens could come down, spy on us, be like, they believe that a Jewish carpenter who was killed by his own people for no reason at all, like died for their sins. Let's go with that one. And they come down and they're just like, oh yeah. They completely enslave us if they did that, Taylor. You fell for it immediately.
I did fall for it, but it's one of the legacy religions. If they said like Christianity or Islam, one of the ones that's been around for a long time, if they showed up and said Mormonism was the right one, I'd be like, no way, no way.
I'd fight to the death over converting to Mormonism. You can't trick me into being that friendly. I won't do it.
It would be a good community to be involved in. You'd be like, damn, everybody's being nice and giving me favors.
If they're bringing space polygamy back, then I'm in. But I don't want
the aliens.
Yeah, what if they're ugly? What if they're fat?
Yeah, what if they're fat?
Oh, can you imagine if like aliens arrive and they're fat and ugly?
Of course they're going to be fat.
Why? Of course they're going to be fat.
Because it's just like us, but 1,000 years from now. Can you imagine how fat we're going to be in 1,000 years?
We're going to have tech that lets us eat more.
We're going to be disgusting.
No, that's
take a pill that lines your stomach with something that stops it from absorbing food.
That would be a $1 trillion idea, where it's like, take the pill, eat whatever you want. Like, how much would you pay for said pill? This is the kind of thing that I would have bought off the back of a fucking wagon in 1872, and then the guy's off in another town.
Where are you at on it then?
Well, I mean, to Filthy's point, like all of these pilots independently state seeing similar things up there. So like, there's something to it. Like they're not all just making this up. Whether or not it's aliens, who know, you need to see a fuck ton more evidence before you can accept like the alien hypothesis. But I think it's. And how many years has this been going on? Like, there's something like there's stuff out there we don't know about. Absolutely.
Here's where I am. I can't explain away everything, but I think that by and large, it's well-meaning non-liars who aren't seeing what they think they're seeing. There's been tons of footage of like people with cell phones pointing at lights in the sky, saying, "What the heck is happening?" And then guys explain it like. This lens does that. When you shine a light on something, it has these peripheries, and notice it's moving when the camera and people can recreate the UFOs that they saw. Mm-hmm. So I think that explains away 99% of it. This one in particular, I don't know. I can't explain every one of them away. I'm not going to win at whack-a-mole, but I just don't think it's aliens.
I don't, as of right now, no, I don't think it's aliens, but I do think it's probably likely aliens are out there. No, because if it's aliens, there's no way they came to help. There's no way they came to help. They came to fuck our shit up. Like they're going to take all of our shit.
When
Netflix gone.
Everyone's heard this before, but like at first I thought they'd have respect for human life because I do, and that's how I just assume, it projected onto someone else. But then they're like, Woody, do you have respect for termite life? When you see an anthill, do you kick it over just to like fuck with them?
Sometimes.
I've been known to do that. Yeah. When I mow and I just see clouds of dust getting popped up from anthills, I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything. They're nothing to me, which is likely what aliens think about us.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
And Woody and I grew up on a TV series called V, and there were the lizard people that came. And it was just like going, and then we're like going, okay, so they're going to come here and they're going to rip their face off. There's going to be a lizard underneath there, and they're going to take selfies. That's not V, but that the picture on his phone looks like that fish.
Yeah, I see it.
They're like, look, we found fish at the bottom of the ocean. Here's what they look like.
They're ugly. We're going to kill them all and steal their planet.
So yeah, I mean, I just to Filthy's point today, like it is someone has approved a congressional hearing of this shit, and now all of the people that always told whether they were maniacs or not said we told you so are now going like we told you so, and we're
it legitimizes it in a way that I've never seen done before. So it's really interesting to see. I mean, to be fair, the witnesses they picked were fucking fantastic witnesses.
They were great. They were, I caught tail ends of a lot of things. So
yeah, just they seem, and who can tell? You can't tell anything from this, but I've seen Fravor on a couple other podcasts, seen him on Rogan, I've seen him on Lex Friedman, this kind of thing, right? Like well-spoken, intelligent guy. You can't tell necessarily if he's lying or not, kind of deal, in the sense of you don't have any way to prove it one way or the other from just listening to him, but seems to come off. He's consistent. He doesn't seem deranged. He doesn't seem like he's missing some fucking marbles and making shit up. Doesn't seem to have good motivation for doing it, kind of deal. And you hear that and you see that across 3 different people risking their careers for this, with some of them talking to, Ryan Graves. His thing is aerial safety stuff. So he talks to pilots, commercial and military, all over the country, who have seen these and dealt with this. And it's like, man, you start putting these as data points and you can't explain them all. You're right, Woody. A big chunk of these are going to be bullshit. A huge chunk of them, 99.99% of them could be bullshit, and there's still some consistent something coming out with that. And it's interesting, even if that just turns out to be some really fucking advanced drone stuff, that's still really interesting to me. And it's, I don't know. So it was really cool to watch.
I'm glad you're getting so much joy following along. The alien,
it was so cool.
What would it take for you to accept the? So I know you said, Filthy, you're not the alien thing. Definitely not. I don't think so either for now. What would it take for you, do you think, to
buy it?
To say this is aliens?
Fuck. I mean, it's so hard these days, right? It's so easy to fake imagery. It's so easy to fake video. It's so easy to fake audio. Man, it's like, I mean, on one hand of me goes, if this isn't something, if this turns out to be a hoax, A, what a fucking amazing hoax. Whoever did that just killed it, right? And then B, the legitimacy this adds to it. How are you ever going to separate that shit again? On the one hand, this is either the greatest thing ever, that this is now seeing some public light and some public scrutiny, and a government agency, or rather public officials, attempting to run this down in the favor of the public, or it suggests how fucked we are as a country, that our leadership is spending time as the government chasing alien hoaxes, and giving them this legitimacy in that. And I have no clue from what we've seen which of those it is. So what would it take, man?
Right. And so what would it take, or why isn't this in front of Parliament, and why isn't it in front of somewhere else? Why did the United States Senate or government be like, hey, let's listen to this shit here today, because the guys in Parliament was like, get fucked. I'm not.
There's definitely some of that, and the world media coverage is not very kind about their coverage of this so far. It's
is
a
it
lot of
really? Is
most
of the world media being these fucking idiots? They're not aliens, dummy. They're fucking a Chinese drone. I
think it's these idiot Americans are chasing this dumb shit again, and look what they're wasting their time on, kind of deal. But
it's definitely more likely, I would say, to be a Chinese drone than an alien.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What would it take for proof, though? I don't know. What can you do to prove any of these things? So
you're right about fake videos and pictures. It's gotten so good. You can look at something for 30 seconds before you're like, oh shit, this is totally not real.
Yeah, and that's public free stuff, It's ChatGPT does this kind of deal, right? Or the image models that come out of that are associated with that anyway. So I don't know exactly what it would take in terms of proof. Take a lot of experts looking at this. Hopefully experts not initially associated with any of these other things. So bring in some university professors doing this who are experts in their fields. Show me some real footage, preferably real-time footage, where, you have a fucking news reporter in there with the camera going, being shown around the base where they have this shit or something. Yeah. That would be really, that kind of stuff.
And a couple of nuts too. A couple of nuts in the mix also, because you need some nuts in there pushing the boundaries. Because if it's anything like alien movies, the scientists are going to be like, it can't possibly be this kind of mercury-based organism. That's not possible. And then the lunatic will come out and go no, gibbering at them with an answer.
Right.
And he'll have his one spot in the sun, and they'll be like, God damn it, that guy doing a ham radio show from the top of a mountain in the Appalachians, he was right.
Monkeys on typewriters, but conspiracy version, right?
You need
So
those
this is
characters to add a
that
little
one
more
guy who
narrative.
nailed that branching path of conspiracies, and it turned out to be accurate. We need him explaining it. I agree.
We need that guy.
We need that passion.
We do. We need that guy's passion. He'll keep all the other scientists fired up because the scientists are going to be like, I'm at work, brother. I don't care that much, but if I don't work really hard, this guy's gonna fuck it up.
So like, yeah, and it's like, does Filthy need like man on the wing of a plane kind of thing? Like he's like, holy shit, what's on the wing of the plane kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, I mean, you know, I have no desire to see any of this shit. I'd much rather just keep on cruising right along where we're at. But if you know, if they're out there, shit's about to get real.
I hope they are real. And I for one would accept our new alien overlords. Well, I would welcome them into my life, however intrusive they needed to be.
What if they ate? What if they ate dogs? What if
I'll
they
do
ate dogs?
anything for an anal probing?
Do they want my? Oh, free? You said
has.
their healthcare program is incredible. Weekly colonoscopies. Okay, I'm clean as a whistle.
Colonoscopies for everybody. It's like Oprah giving away cars. It's like you get a colonoscopy.
I fucking hate these aliens with their goddamn colonoscopy.
Why is your butt plug so spiky?
Man, this is not at all what anyone predicted. They're really into asses.
Why aliens always have to go up your ass would be all just like
that'd be one of the first questions we probably
stick the
ask.
microphone out like,
That's they should have asked the hearing.
Are you going up my ass, sir?
Yeah.
It's just a rectal thermometer.
See, that's how you know those people are fibbing or having a hallucination, because you get sucked up into an alien craft, million lasers and sensor devices. You think they're sticking something up your ass? No, they got advanced stuff.
Let me ask you this: you bring a cow into your veterinary clinic. You're not the state of the art clinic. This isn't the Mayo Clinic or anything. This is for farm animals and dogs. You're gonna stick something right up that animal's ass to take its temperature. That's what they're doing.
Not if you have
I got
the
really
space-age
drunk,
technology.
and when I woke up, my ass was killing me. How else would you explain that?
You know what? That's probably so many of those stories when you're like, I passed out drunk in the woods and my ass is killing me. I cannot mentally handle what is very likely the out. Oh no, there's ectoplasm in my rectum.
I was gonna say, in your first go-to in the woods, Bigfoot. That's not gonna work here. That's gonna make it worse. You can't be like, ass hurts Bigfoot. It's got to be aliens.
Oh yeah, I hope it's
really
Bigfoot. Stay at home. I'm looking for small dick.
I was raped by an alien.
Raped by an alien. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Dude, I was talking to some of my viewers in this for my stream today, and I have a fair amount of European viewers, and they were not having it. I was trying to I'm like, have you watched this? They're like, sounds like a load of bullshit. And then they're like, looking at me stuff, and I'm just like,
they can't
guys,
even
come
like,
on.
Can't you just watch something that's probably bullshit and enjoy that it's fun for a while? Like,
oh my god, yeah.
Just have a little fun with it.
I want to believe. I like your take on it. I agree. It's probably a government program to make us look the other way because they've got some like new generation of cool drones that do wild shit, and they're blowing our other pilots who fly normal shit's minds when they see one. That's probably what it is. But I really want it to be that 1 million years ago there was a global catastrophe and this other race of human beings just went to the oceans because the atmosphere was bad for them, and they've been there the whole time.
They just had a movie about that on Netflix. It was actually good, like 65.
I saw that too.
Well,
that
fucking
movie
well
was
done.
a C-.
I have a question, Woody.
Yeah. Michelin would sponsor.
Did you watch Three Body Problem?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I liked it, and I felt like I liked it partly because of my bias, right? I say I read the books. I listened to the books. I was into it. I think I understood. It was easy for me to follow because I had a structure already. But my expectations were super high. I feel like the Three Body Problem source material could be there with Game of Thrones on its best day and Breaking Bad and such. And I didn't walked away like, man, I hope this is season 2. What did you think?
No.
Go.
No. I thought you were talking to me because I was like Breaking Dad. Oh, that's a gay porno.
It was just a verbal typo.
I know, but it's funny for me. It's how my little brain works.
Okay.
Did you watch Three Body Problem, Kyle?
No, I know the whole story by because there's a YouTuber that I like a lot who has made tons and tons of. I think it's Oliver Explains or something like that. I hate to get it wrong, but he.
I love YouTube videos like that, by the way.
He's a black gentleman, and he has a great channel. He explores sci-fi series, and I watched hours and hours of him explaining full Three Body Problem from beginning to end. And basically, because I decided I don't like the way that story ends. In fact, I don't like the middle of that story, and I don't love the beginning.
When I read those books, where the story goes and where it ends up, I was like, "Holy shit, we're here!" Like, the thing when I like
not for me.
You brought this up, Woody, and I use this all the time when you say that you have the minimum system requirements to understand that book. I felt that way too, and in fact, I feel like I was really pushing my graphics card a bit. My graphics card was below the minimum. I was a bit under, but I would read things in that book and be like, okay, I'm just going to keep reading. I'm going to assume what I read is not what I'm picturing, because that's crazy. And I'm just going to read ahead. But then watching the show, I was like, so yeah, it was exactly what I thought. Like them describing the countdown on the eyes was, I'm like, so it's basically a countdown in the eyes is what I'm imagining. And when I was imagining how they were like in the VR world and how they were making like a computer with the signs, and I was like, this is weird, or making the sky blink. I'm like, it's not literal, because it would talk about scientific stuff and then it would get like spiritual, because the guy loved like computer science, but he was also like Buddhist or something. And like, so the story did all this shit where sometimes I'm like, oh, is this like a translation? This is like I'm picturing something different. So watching the movie was so cool to be validated on these things where I was like, okay, so I kind of was picturing what it was. And then there were some aspects to it that I'm like I always found the wall facer aspect to be really compelling in the book. I love that story. I thought even just an isolated, it was all about the wall facer and their experience, and that's it. But these guys, the Game of Thrones boys, they're so big, and they are good at making people talking interesting. And then you couple that with some of the crazy scenes like the nanofiber wire and the boat, which like when I pictured it, I was like, is this as fucked up as I'm imagining it? Because it comes out of nowhere in the book, and then in the show, it actually comes out of nowhere again. And you're like, that's fucking crazy. And the concepts of it and the stuff, it was validating to see it. And although a lot of the characters, I don't remember exactly, because a lot of them are Chinese names, and so they're not memorable to me, and they would mold together. The characters that they made, they took like some characters from like book 2 and kind of, they mixed it up and they mixed people together and they made a different cast. But the cop, is that Benedict Wong? That's exactly what I pictured when I was reading the book. Yeah. That's exactly the guy. And that character was such an easy person to understand. I felt like, oh, I can
it's like the only non-genius in the book.
Exactly. And he's like, and it's like a cop could read a book or tell me a story about a detective and why things are, and I'm like, that's easy to track. And so I loved that book. And I always loved, when I read the book, one thing that like stuck with me was that when he's like, you know, at a certain point, the aliens are like, you're bugs. We're going to squish you like bugs. And then when he has that moment where he drives them out to where the locusts are, and he's like, look at this, look at all the bugs around us. He's like, we all have insecticide. We all spray it all over the place. We think about different ways to do it. We burn their nests. We have fly swatters next to our desks, but no matter what, these bugs are fine. If we're bugs, we'll be fine. And I was like, oh, that's such like the whole concept is so like demotivating, because it's like, you're fucked. You can't even do science anymore. You're fucked. And then that sentence, which I thought maybe it came in late. I think it came in later, but they messed up the order of stuff. So I don't know. But that sentence always stuck with me. I was like, oh, what a great thing. Because I remember being defeated reading the book, being like, okay, so what, we're just going to get our asses kicked the whole time. But saying that was interesting. And they ended with that. And I found that I was also validating again, because I was like, I enjoyed that line in the book. So did you.
Covered in the show was good and interesting, necessary, of course. But the part of the story that really captured my attention was what's the name of the 3 people they have to like make a secret plan?
The wall facers?
Are they the wall facers? Who's the guy that the sword
where he's
holder?
like, I don't want to be a wall facer, and then
okay,
like,
well then I'm conflating wall
genius.
facer. Who's the guy who like has his finger on the destroy button? Last
sword holder.
Okay, I conflated wall facer with sword holder. The wall facers, what they do and what their plans are and how they're going to put this together. That was really. I'm like, all right. You're outmanned and outgunned in 1,000 different ways, but you can lie.
It's so interesting. We could lie. It's such a concept that
if people don't know, and the aliens that are attacking us, they communicate telepathically and they read each other's minds. It's kind of like a mental collective. So there is no concept of lying. They weren't even familiar with what lying could be. And but humans, of course, are intimately familiar with lying. It's almost part of normal daily life, right? Like at some level. So your only advantage is that you can lie and behave dishonestly. So how are you going to take that and beat these guys?
Because they're watching us.
Yeah. So, and they have like, I'm trying to think, one guy, I think in the movie, the TV show, they changed it a bit, but one guy was like this leader of the Nicaraguan rebels who beat a much superior army. And they're like, okay, you're one of the wall phasers because you've sort of proven that you can do this. When you're outmanned and outgunned, but clever enough, you can win. You're a guy. I forget who the other one was, maybe American General or something. And then this random dude, for no fucking reason, particularly, he's a genius, but he's never motivated or met his potential. And they're like, we want you too. And he turns it down. Anyway, the whole concept.
He turns it down, by the way. He turns it down and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. And they're like, great plan. He's already working. He's like, no, seriously, I'm literally doing nothing. They're like, of course you are.
You tell it so well. I appreciate it. But that aspect, and by the way, that dynamic, right? Like, I think there's a part later where that guy, like, he's like, you know what? I want you to build me a mansion on top of a mountain. And like, okay.
I'm excited for all this season.
I don't see where that's going, but you get it. And he's like, you know what I kind of need? There's a $15 million bottle of wine on a sunken ship. I'd like that. And they're like, I don't understand your plan. He's like, I'm a wall facer. You don't question my plan either, do you?
No one's allowed to question him of anything.
See, I hate that. The YouTube channel is called Quinn's Ideas. It turns out I was way off, but just like knowing the whole story basically from a few hours of him telling it and really speeding through it, I'm sure. I like the idea of the wall facers. I like the idea that you pick these people to come up with these plans and you don't say no to them. You just, whatever they say goes, because if they told us the plan, the aliens are listening, but they, I like that. I really love the one plan the guy has. He puts himself, he's like, put me in cryo sleep. This star system over here, if anything happens to that star right there, you wake me the fuck up and let me know. And then he beams that star's location out just to everybody. And that's awesome. I love that. Everything else, especially the ending and like where humanity goes and how humanity declines.
Reading the book, I agree with you. I felt that part was great because it was easy to imagine. And some of the concepts are so high level sci-fi, like reading about like a computer from the 5th dimension that could be folded up into a proton to be shipped to Earth to unfold and then stop all progression of science by messing with physics is like a concept that I'm like, okay.
Right.
But then you see it in action and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I worry. I'm like, I would love a season 2. I'm like, but people that watch Game of Thrones aren't going to watch this and be like, well, I love it. Like, I thought it was so good.
Do you, you did like it? You thought 3 Body Problem was?
I thought it was so good. I was like, but also I'm biased like Woody, when you read 3 books of a thing and you're seeing it get turned to life in a sexier way than what your brain was probably doing. I'm like, I know this, like I'm watching a thing and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. If they do what I think they're going to do, and then it happens, you're like, is that crazy? I knew it because I read a book.
There's
like, you get like,
what I loved about 3 Body Problem, though, was not the unrequited romance story of the love of the nerd and the girl and the this and the that. And I'm like, that's half the screen time.
maybe something
making
like that.
them people, making them care about us care about the people. Because in the book, you end up getting so far from the people that initially were.
I didn't really give a fuck about any individual people.
Well, no, but that's
about the population.
And the big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a TV show doesn't have that benefit. That's why they did this character thing, because these characters, by the way, to everyone listening, this book, I don't want to. I might spoil it, so mute me for 4 seconds. This shit goes thousands of years into the future.
Millions.
Trillions?
Yeah. It goes
and we lose.
It goes hundreds of years. It goes hundreds of years, and then thousands of years, and
we get to be cattle in Australia for a small period of time, but then we're just folded up into one dimension or two. I don't remember which.
I think in the book originally, but there's 10 dimensions, and the fact that we know of 3 means that we just sort of missed the collapsing of the first 7, and then it drops to 2 and to 1, and then there's micro universes and micro black holes, a concept I really struggled to get my head around.
So many, as the books go on,
humanity
there
loses.
Are concepts that are but even then, before it loses, the people that you were with are it's 400 years later, and it's fucking weird. And they're describing things, or the guy whose brain's on the rocket ship. There's just things that it's no wonder it goes to the Game of Thrones guys.
Human brain, they've got a human brain, and then you learn what the aliens are, and they're fucking stupid. They're cockroach sized or some shit.
But we never see them. They're never physically described enough in the book, really, at all. You never. Yeah, I'm excited to see how they'll handle that.
In the story, Harley mentioned it briefly, there's this cryosleep concept, and it becomes a thing that's accessible to the wealthy. So it almost means that if you're wealthy, you are able to teleport to the future, because cryosleep is available. So poor people just have to live with whatever era they were born. Wealthy people can be like, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice and see what it's like 100 years from now. Right? Maybe my investments will have gone bonkers, and society will be heaven. And let's see what that's like.
7%. Do 100 years. Let's go.
Yeah, right. But you could wake up and find out there's an apocalypse and be like, bad bet.
Or maybe your ex-wife didn't make your freezer payments or something, and they thaw you out in a bad time. The market's real bad. Why'd you wake me up?
Somehow that particular thing, being able to teleport to the future, essentially felt really profound to me, and how it would separate the haves from the have-nots in a way that would 1,000 times more than we have today.
Mm-hmm. And even when they described stuff in the book, because I was always like, am I picturing this right? This sounds really fucking bad. So I'm excited to see how they'll do it. Because the thing about
season 2?
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, they do fucking Lord of the Rings season 2, so they better do this shit.
Yeah, the UFOs, the balloons that we've been shooting down, because it's super embarrassing. And they even asked at the press conference. I love that someone asked the question. And this is 3 days ago. They asked that black lady who does the press conferences now. We're gonna be embarrassed if it turns out that. Yeah. We're gonna be embarrassed if it turns out that we've been shooting Sidewinder missiles and chasing with F-22s with tankers in the air for dozens of hours, and what we were shooting down was civilian weather balloons and maybe even decorations. I say we're all proud of the military and everything they do, and he's just pivoting and won't even deal with the question. And then it turns out, that's what we've been doing. What happened was, in case you weren't following along, is we had that one Chinese balloon that flew over and it was scary. So they were like, how did we not see it sooner? And so they changed the radar to pick up objects moving slower than 80 knots or whatever. They turned that down, the speed detection part, and suddenly the radar grid lights up, and they're like, send the jets, send the F-22s, send the F-16s. We've got to shoot Sidewinder missiles at all of these. And every time
have we really been doing that?
Yeah,
that's really embarrassing.
That's what the last week's been. And the fun part was when they shot at the one over maybe the Great Lakes or Alaska, I don't remember which, but they missed with the first Sidewinder missile. Those are
it's at a balloon.
Those are to be fair, they're not meant to hit balloons, but
it better be able to hit a balloon, man.
It's they're $400,000 a piece or something like that, and everybody gets stuck on that number. They're like, we wasted a $400,000 missile. Do you know what it costs to fly an F-22 per hour? I think it's like $80,000 an hour if it's flying. Like
I do think that argument. I like that point. It's like, yeah, so they wasted $400K. Do you have any idea the countless tens of billions they waste every few months? And it's like, yeah, because of things like this contribute to that. Like just doing whatever you want all the time because there's infinite money for it. Like
super embarrassing.
Something I don't understand is like China has. Maybe you guys can tell me.
Okay.
Like China has satellites, which are better than balloons at seeing things on the ground.
So they weren't trying to see on the ground.
Yeah, you can zoom in with satellite. Like they have satellites. Like we do.
True.
Like you can zoom in. You can see stuff way better than like a fucking balloon up there. Like it's just why would they do a balloon?
So they're not trying to see things. The satellites are plenty good at seeing everything. They're trying to pick up communications. They're trying to pick up communications as they fly over all of North America. And we're not talking about your TV or your like short band radio. They're trying to pick up military communications. They flew right across where the ICBMs are. They flew across the Missouri base where the B-2s are at. They were scanning and picking up military signals, and also obviously getting.
Aren't those satellite done? Like our military communicates with satellites, right?
No, well, there's radio signaling on the ground going back and forth. That's how we like do all of that's how we communicate.
It's just such a weird situation because it's like they were trying to get this information, and it was so important that we allowed them to go across the entire continent long ways, unimpeded.
The fun part was all right. So there's an island where they launched these. There's an island where they launched these balloons from, and so we watched them launch the balloon. We were aware of its launch as soon as it. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. It's Xinjiang Island.
You call Barun Iron.
but they watched them. I watched the CNN reporting on this. That dolt of a woman they've got on there. She was like, so well, yeah, we watched them launch the balloon. We understand, but like, what's the worst that could happen? He's like, well, could we guarantee? Can Congress guarantee? Can the joint staffs agree that we knew for sure there wasn't a nuclear weapon on that balloon? She's like, well, that would be quite a feat launching a nuclear weapon from a balloon. And it's like, you dumb bitch. He goes, well, you just drop it. I'm glad he said that, but I wish he'd expounded upon that and said, like, actually, that's the easiest way to deliver a nuclear weapon. They just proved that they can deliver a nuclear weapon to the entire continental United States and detonate it above our cities. They just did it. All they have to do is strap one in there. There's no way.
They proved they can go 4 miles an hour across all of Canada and the U.S. and we apparently miss missiles, or we go, this is a threat. We're going to talk about it for 6 days and do nothing.
Well, then the other thing is, like, as China's sitting there, like, oh, they shot out one balloon. Then they watch us freak out as we shoot ghosts in the dark and start adding up a body count of Chinese balloons. And they're over there like, General, was it just one balloon or 4 balloons? And he's like, only one balloon, General. And he's like, and they laugh in Chinese at us because we're
Chinese at us.
We're shooting in the dark at we're painting the sides of F-22s with balloons and UFOs over here. And in reality, what we actually have done is shot down like News Channel 7 with Rick the Weatherman Stevens' balloon, or we shot down 7th grade science project's balloon.
Some poor hobbyist just trying to
They're
learn
helium balloons. You can just order them. Like you can go right now and buy the balloon they shot down.
That's fucking embarrassing.
They said it was the size of a car. Those are $65 balloons, and the helium's expensive, but you get where I'm coming from. Like we throw together a whole swarm of these.
Well, that's ridiculous. That's
then
fucking
paint
sad.
Advertising on the side of them.
I didn't know we were shooting down random fucking hobbyists' balloons.
That's exactly what we were doing. We were chasing them around across the entire fucking North America, the Arctic. They're up near the North Pole with stealth fighters fighting weather balloons, and then they're like, oh, there's one over the Great Lakes too. All right, well, we're so good at doing this stuff. To be fair, like it's kind of cool that like a weather balloon flew over, and they send a tanker plane, Taylor. And then they send a radar jamming plane above that one. And then they have a whole swarm of like support planes and stealth fighters that are all there to kill whatever somebody saw on a radar. It's pretty cool.
I mean, but you also said we're missing with Sidewinder missiles.
See, I don't think that's a big deal though. Like those are meant to hit like planes, that are hot probably.
Yeah. Planes notoriously more static than balloons.
Planes notoriously faster than balloons. That's the problem. Yeah. It's a lot harder to hit something that's sitting there not moving than it is it would normally be able to track the thing over time, right? And then the way it works is it explodes. It doesn't like fly through, the targets. It explodes.
I
like
thought it did.
grenade. No,
It doesn't move.
explodes.
That makes sense.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, because you know what the most guarded technology of World War II was, as far as the United States was concerned.
Wait,
you might think the Manhattan
nuclear
Project.
submarines.
You'd be close. Well, no, the World War II. Taylor, you got it.
Oh,
the spaceship.
We're gonna watch the.
Yeah,
History
it
Channel
was truly
later.
closely guarded. If you didn't even.
The proximity.
You had no idea. It was
Yeah.
the space shuttle that was the most closely
Yeah, that was
guarded.
closely guarded.
To this day, Kyle doesn't know about the space shuttle program of 1937.
Proximity
You do.
The proximity fuse, which allows anti-aircraft rounds to burst in the air when they get near enough to the plane. That way, you don't have to actually hit a plane in the air with a bullet that's flying real fast, because that's like impossible almost. But if you can shoot a bullet up there that pings with a little bit of radar, and when it gets a ping back, it explodes in the air and bursts that, millimeters thin aircraft fuselage. And there's a guy in there, doesn't want to get hit with shit either. But we would only use that technology over water for the entire war, so the enemy couldn't acquire our proximity fuse technology.
They did find it though, because the device floats. They didn't realize.
It's not true.
It is. I
No,
just looked it
it's
up.
not. No, you
It
didn't.
doesn't sound true at all.
It's a powerful thing.
Not today.
And I'm trying to spread some.
I won't have it. I won't have it.
Sometimes you just want to go online and spread.
I mean, every week around
this time is when I think we all excel at
around
that.
8 p.m. I'd like to get on in here and get started on it.
Yeah. That's such a funny thing with like doing a show like this, is just like something will come up and it's like, all right, I need to have some kind of fucking take on this, like other than like, yeah, that's fine, like right or whatever.
No, I have strong opinions about all these things. I usually like some. I won't always give my real opinion. I'll usually go to the opposite. But like I watch enough news throughout the day that I just actually get upset by it. I didn't used to. I got to stop doing it. I got to
you gotta quit. You can't let that negativity run riot in you, man. You gotta just focus on positive things. The
They're also
NHL,
stupid.
build orders for Age of Empires 2, all sorts of things like that. Got 2 wins in the 1v1 ranked ladder. I'm an epic god of gaming now.
How many losses?
I'm actually 2-0 in 1v1s. I've only played 2.
Yeah, no, 2 wins. You need context for that. Really, that could be terrible.
You got to play a game from this decade.
Only 400 tries.
It kills me, Kyle, because I know you'd have so much fun playing with us. Vovity's loving it.
I
He's getting into it.
downloaded it. I've been playing all week. It sucks.
No, you haven't. Jump in with us.
Of course I have. No,
you haven't been playing. You fibber. Yeah, but it'd be fun. Human history, Mesopotamia, most likely. Bit of time in Egypt. We don't have time for Greece or Rome. Apologies. So something about the Mongols, Middle Ages, and then there's Trump did his NFT thing, like that level.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
This is
like
human history is easy. It's like if white people discovered everything, and if they were black, aliens helped them. There we go. That's it.
That would be the
entirety of human history.
The way to explain it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Human history. Those people who think like everything was from aliens. Like, which is not true. We figured some stuff out.
The only people who think that are the History Channel.
It's only ever people that are black that used alien technology. All white people are like, oh, he's genius, and then it's like, oh, the Egyptians, no, slightly brown, aliens helped them build the pyramid. Aztecs, not black. No, that aliens did it. If white people had to build pyramids, they'd be like fucking geniuses. Absolutely. Look at the engineering that goes into this shit.
Dude, that would be a hilarious history show to host, where like you never acknowledge it, but you just go around like debunking non-white stuff. Like that's all that you're just like clearly you slowly become more of a racist as you guys until you get canceled.
You're just standing there. This guy's literally showing
the last
you
episode of the show is like the tremendous feat of Nazi architecture.
There's this black guy using a lever to lift a rock, and he's just like, so who taught you that? And he's like, I made it myself. So aliens, right? Oh, you fuckhead.
Someone must have come and instructed you on how to use this lever. You couldn't have possibly intuited your way into it.
So how many races are in the 40K universe, Carl?
No,
there's
So if you're talking about the tabletop board game, there's like a limit on that. I have no idea what it is, but a couple dozen probably. But if you're talking about like in all of the lore, then there's thousands, right? Because there's maybe 3 or 4 dozen like named races that have larger stories about them. But like I've heard tell of like, 100 worlds I've conquered, 100 different species knelt at my feet, and it's like, oh shit! Like we didn't even get to talk about the worm people of Epsilon 3 or the badger folk of Trigolar 4. Like they just shit on them. They like there wasn't anything they could give to them. They didn't have any cool tech or anything. They're like, yeah, we just slaughtered the badger people and took their world. Like we didn't negotiate, and there really wasn't a whole war to write a story about because they were badger people. So
that's where I think it'll get confusing though, because like you've got like shit like the Space Marines and like Chaos Space Marines, and they have like inside them they have like a whole bunch of different sects and shit that do different fucking crap, and it's like
I think that
they're gonna have to dumb it down a lot.
Well, look, there's parts of if you try to show the big thing, then you get lost.
Yeah,
like again, that's a setting. You don't need to know like all of Middle Earth. You don't need to know the Silmarillion to know about that when Theoden rides down that fucking hill, it's badass and be entertained by it. And everybody who read the books are still like happy because he did ride down that hill. He did the speech too. Like everybody's happy there. So like don't try to show the whole fucking thing. One battlefield, one war, one battle. This is the commissar. He's got to like whip that's all you could just. He could be a commissar trying to keep Imperial soldiers in line, and they're always trying to like, and he has to. Commissars often have to execute their guys. It's like always forward, kind of thing. Any cowardice, anybody talking shit about the Emperor, you're getting one. Like
that's
do a story
like a lot
that.
of the like if they do it in the grand scale, they're gonna fuck it. Like that new Lord of the Rings show is just too grand scale, and you don't get to know any of the characters. But then you look at like. What's that? What's Band of Brothers, like Easy Company shit? Like that just focuses on one bunch of motherfuckers being badasses, and it's like that's it. You don't need to know the consistency of Hitler's shit on June 16th. Like
because you're just following fucking Ox and the gang, and
and it's
that
simple
show is
because
so
it's like simple. It's like the dudes with the mustaches like cunts. Let's kill them.